Are they coming? What happens when the other two are online? Mhm. Oops. This is our third. You think they can hear me through this? Okay, thank you. Good morning. I am State Senator Donzella James, and this is the public hearing on the American Rescue Plan Act, number 3. May 12th, we had our first meeting. A month later, we had our second, and now we are trying to wrap up, but come back to you to continue to explain and answer questions that have come up in our past meetings of this Georgia State Interstate Corporation Committee. The members of the committee, Honorable Senator Freddie Powell Sims is the vice chair, and Honorable Ed Harbison has been assigned to a subcommittee for the county and city elected officials and the education leaders in Georgia if they have questions, concerns, or special projects. Our leadership has responded and have been able to come, and some who have spoke or are going to speak today or be recognized is Senator Gloria Butler, our minority leader of the Senate caucus, the Honorable James Beverly, who is our minority leader in the House of Representatives, Representative Billy Mitchell, who is the chair of the House of Representatives Democratic Caucus, and he's also the president of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators that will be meeting here in Georgia this year for the first time in about 25 years. So we are going to begin, but before we begin, in this committee, we always start with prayer. So I've asked Mr. Calvin Anderson if he would lead us in a short prayer in order to start our meeting. Mr. Anderson, thank you.
Because we have not been without your presence, we cannot begin to doubt your presence here and now. We realize that we would touch and agree because you are in our midst, and that is your holy promise. Please watch over this state hearing here in Georgia, the epicenter for progress. This is about the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, which is a promulgated safety net and relief plan from the federal government. It includes 23 title programs in 83 targeted areas. We realize that we've had our third hearing about this and outreach across the state and sharing best practices and needs in border states. We realize that the governor has recently set up 3 new committees and additional oversight. We ask that you help us to watch over this. There's so many people in need since there is no playbook for this particular endeavor. Because we have not been without your presence, we cannot begin to doubt your presence here and now, and we trust in you, oh God, in this time. Please watch over this hearing. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, sir. We're going to call this meeting to order. And again, this is the public hearing on the American Rescue Plan Act. I would like to welcome all of you on the virtual meeting. Our other members are also on the virtual meeting on Zoom. And we have some guests who are here. Mr. Maceo Fletcher, who has been an advocate for the state of Georgia and for our Black caucus many times, and the Concerned Black Clergy and many other organizations and unions. So thank you for being here. And I call you Maceo, even though that's your first name. So thank you very much for being here. If you have any concerns, we will have a Q&A. But I know you have to leave early, so let me know if you have any concerns. So thank you. Also, I'd like to welcome all of the different Black Chamber of Commerce's that I know are on the line, and Mr. Michael Hill. And the Black Philanthropic Month has been celebrated this month. In fact, we have a resolution that they have and a proclamation that was given to them. And I'll just read a couple of lines. It says, whereas John William Templeton, a historian, and Frederick A. Jordan Sr., a civilian engineer, founded Black Business Month in 2004 to drive the policy affecting the African-American businesses and initiatives to recognize a Black-owned business across the country and highlight their importance to the community and nation and the national economy. And whereas Black business owners account for 10% of the US businesses and about 30% of all minority-owned businesses, according to the US Census Bureau, which amounts to approximately 2 million companies owned by African Americans. And whereas nearly 40% of Black-owned businesses are in healthcare and social services, repair and maintenance, laundry services, and other categories, including advertising firms, auto dealerships, consulting services, restaurants, barbershops, beauty shops, etc. Whereas August is a national business month and Black-owned businesses are recognized across the country, and they all join in celebrating and recognizing the importance of Black businesses. Black businesses are important, and this proclamation goes on and on, but I want to say, therefore, they do hereby proclaim August 2021 as the National Business and Black Philanthropic Month, and urge all citizens to recognize the valuable contributions and importance to our community and economy. According to our Georgia Legislative Black Caucus, we only, Black businesses only have 3% of the state businesses. So it's definitely in repair and restoration and building, because many years ago, this is not for just Blacks, but since this was a Black month, and since these are the people who have been coming to this meeting, we wanted to recognize them today. And also there has been a executive order that went along with this ARPA bill, and it is House Bill HR 1319. And if you're interested in getting it, we do have that. So you can contact our committee here at the State Senate, and we'll be happy to send forward it to you. At this time, we're going to start our meeting. But I would like to recognize the staff that's present. You want to say your name?
I'm Heaton, I work in the Center office.
Thank you very much for being here. This is a very important issue for the state of Georgia because out of that $1.9 trillion, Georgia is benefiting from it and needs to continue to benefit from it. Governor Kemp announced that Georgia Jobs and Infrastructure Committees would be formed, and they are already regarding the federal coronavirus relief funds. And that was what was allocated to Georgia through this American Rescue Plan. So I'm so honored that our governor looks at this particular bill that we've been having a hearing on, and he's going to move it forward because there's $17.4 billion that will be coming to the state of Georgia. And we need to have accountability and transparency when it comes to that so that we can continue to get our fair share of federal tax dollars as they come down from other grants and bills. Right now, we're going to call on Senator Gloria Butler. Are you on the line? Is she Senator Butler? The Honorable Mary Margaret Oliver. Who is on the line already, so I can just call her? I know that Mayor Willie Burns just called and said that he had a conflict and he could not get out of it, but he had already made his report at the last meeting and he was going to give us an update. Would you like to say anything? Ms. Sharon Hill spoke with him, and you can, while we're trying to reach some of the other people on the line, we're having a little technical difficulty, but we'll be right there. So Sharon Hill, can you tell us about Mr. Willie Burns and where he is now and what, on this particular issue?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
For this vote, it's an hearing on the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, effectively appropriated by HR 1319.
Yes.
So Mayor Burns has apprised us that he is unavailable today. However, he was going to specifically speak on the challenges in rural Georgia, rural communities, and what we have experienced through this time is, of course, first getting the information on the directives of ARPA, as well as for working with the constituents and engaging with their elected officials. And so for this, he has been working through counties in Georgia, as we all have, reaching out to them, ensuring that they are understanding what they are to ask their electeds, the funding that has come to the county as well as the city is for, as the title of the act is, advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities. And that with encouraging, yes, we know we need the infrastructure that has been, of course, hailed. We understand that Georgia, we are, as other states are, behind, and definitely in our rural areas. However, what we also are needing is the impact of transforming our communities. Let us make sure that we are addressing the historical inequities as is cited in the HR 1319 as well. And so for it being effectively appropriated, the funding is there, and we need the electeds as well as the community, and from Faith, which will be here to speak on, for business, for our organizations, and we will speak to how that has been awesomely done here in our metro area later. So we, of course, miss Mayor Burns today. Mayor Burns is the executive director of the Georgia Council of Conference of Black Mayors, and has worked, of course, around this state on making sure that, of course, our mayors are equipped, the constituents are informed and educated. And of course, we appreciate his work that he has been doing with you and us, as well as the other entities across the state. And we look forward to hearing from him in the upcoming report.
Thank you very much. So what are they asking for specifically?
Specifically, the focus has been more so, and we've heard this in the last two hearings, that the counties and cities are asking for the funding, and actually already appropriating the funding to infrastructure. And that, of course, can be from the broadband, fiber optics. We understand that, yes, with this time past of COVID and the need for the internet, more internet access. But at the same time, we do have some that have come up through business that are actually answering that. And of course, we can effectively use that by having public-private partnerships for providing the wireless, the hotspots, the availability now to address lost learning is really what we need to make sure of as well. And so that is incorporating the organizations, the community, in being a part of transforming the community to what it needs to have. And so the hope is, and the motivation is, to engage from the community organizations to the community advocates, as well as constituents that are engaged and know what they already advocate, the ones that are showing up at their county meetings, their city council meetings, their school board meetings, and advocating for what needs to be done. This is an opportunity for bringing what needs to happen. We have people that are in South Georgia where just something as much as, we talked about the lost learning, need to have the after school basically expanded. Churches that already have daycare, they can help with whatever within the community.
Have they applied?
Well, that is, of course, the other part. And because there has been a charge, it's a challenge really, because again, let's go back. The governments, city and council and the county have already decided in some areas, all of this, we have some counties where all of it has gone to infrastructure. So there is nothing for the communities, no matter how bad they are needed. And
They should still apply. They can still apply because there's still some money available, and even unfortunately, this ARPA money is being used in many cases, as you just said, for infrastructure. Infrastructure is so important and is so needed. However, there is an infrastructure bill that is being debated and has already passed the House, and it's in the US Senate now. And so that money will be directly for infrastructure. So they don't have to use this ARPA money necessarily for
necessarily.
that.
That is correct. And that is, again, what has been happening across the state. We had the tour, we have the Black Chambers, we have the community forums, we have the
Mhm.
electeds that have stood up. You've had them here to speak to the challenges that they have had. We have Andrew Heaton from Senator Warnock's office that has addressed that, as well as to what should and should not so much be a focus when it is effectively listed the areas of the funding directives.
Okay,
Okay.
all
And so,
right.
yes,
Well, Ms. Hill,
encourage-
you're the next person on the list from the Cobb Faith Partnership from HASTE, and Equitable Housing Task Force. So would you, and we're gonna have 3 minutes on all of this.
Ooh,
Will you speak and then also introduce the Honorable County Commissioner Jericho Richardson?
okay.
Is she on the line?
Is she on? Well, thank you. And we thank you. We thank you for actually creating this advisory council. And of course, you answered the call. I facilitate outreach. I am with the COP Collaborative for the Equitable Housing Task Force, as well, just now with the state conference, NAACP for Georgia, and the eviction task force. And so for what we have been experiencing, this is effectively provided for in ARPA.
Mhm.
And I can say, as a resident of Cobb County, it has already been addressed and approved by our county commission board just last month for the assistance of the organizations that currently facilitate and provide the providers of the grants that have been awarded
Mhm.
from the federal, the ERAs, the emergency rental assistance, the CDBG grants addressing CARES, COVID, as well as it was effectively passed that the we have 3 extra persons that have been provided for through ARPA for assisting those organizations with making sure that they are disseminating the funds, because that has been a problem, disseminating the funds expeditiously. And of course, it's, not a black and white. It's, not receiving documents, and that information has been provided as well. But we have a great need right now. And let's be real clear. COVID is a crisis. And we are connecting with, of course, the White House and the national organizations that are assisting to help guide and to help provide. We will have that later as well for things that are coming as far as legislation,
Mhm.
which we need most definitely. Again, this is a crisis. This is TCE. This changes everything. And so everything needs to change in how it is done. Again, we in Cobb County, our commissioners passed the awarding of funds for 3 persons to help 5 other organizations. And we, as the churches and other organizations, are assisting as well. And so we look to, with the different task force, to be able to address the pressing need. And now we have, of course, the Ida evacuees, as well as the
Is that going to come into your housing,
most definitely. As a matter of fact, I just had a conversation with someone who says they are not going back to New Orleans. And so for our equitable housing, let's be real clear that the equitable housing answer is supposed to answer for housing for everyone. Permanent housing is what we must make sure of. And with the challenges of the landlords, there's help for them as well. And so the public information education is still needed across the board. And that is what these task force with NAACP, with the COP Collaborative, COP Faith Partnership. I am now president. And so this is where we are going to be moving. We have always provided information for organizations. And now this is to make sure that we have peer support network being provided as well for veterans. It is dire for seniors and senior women on fixed income. And so we are.
So did you apply for money from this ARPA?
That is what is being
And
done.
what about homelessness? Do you have that?
And so that is
you're
a part
addressing?
of the collaborative. That is a part of what we have been working with the churches with homeless, as well as those organizations that already received the funding. However, we have the entity like the Family Life Restoration Center in Mableton, Georgia, that it has a homeless shelter, but because of certain challenges is not open. And so, yes, we are working on that. That is Dr. Ben Williams, SCLC, the co-owners, Mr. and Mrs. Washington. Yes, and of course, that community. We have, again, what needs to happen. Michael Murphy is part of the task force, the Equitable Housing Task Force. So we're needing to make strategic alliances. That is what we're working on, dealing with the landlords as well as banks and other property management. We were able to, with that flood where a total of 50 people were being vacated and evicted. And so they were able to go in, have a conversation. The property managers came from out of town and mediated. And so this is what we have to work all areas. Let us get back to the community. Let us have conscious conversation and make sure that ARPA is the difference for transforming our communities and answering our historical inequities, healing the hurt.
Well, I know that the cities and counties got money straight from the U.S. Treasury Department out of this same money. And so they have already received some of the monies. And it's a lot of problems, not only in Cobb County where you are, but other places all throughout Georgia. But Cobb, even this weekend, had flooding problems. And we have one of our county commissioners.
It was
from,
where I live, near where I live.
Really?
Yes.
Can you introduce our county commissioner?
Sure.
I know her. She was a Georgia Tech student.
Okay.
And she actually interned here many years ago.
Wonderful.
And she was outstanding then. And so I'm so glad to know that she is serving Cobb County now as a county commissioner.
Yes, she is.
Go ahead
And you're
say
speaking
her
to
name.
the Honorable Jericho Richardson for District 2, which she has been on the ground definitely with having weekly, bi-weekly meetings, huddles as well, and creating her councils, her committees, a committee for for homeless, for the vulnerable populations, for housing. And because of her experience, as we were just speaking about the evacuees from Ida, from Katrina with her mother, she has taken that model that helped her mother and brought it into Cobb right now.
Well,
And
let's introduce
so
her.
much. And so I present to some and to introduce to others.
Hello. Thank you so much, Sharon. It's good to hear your voice. And hi, Senator James.
Hello and welcome, and thank you so much for speaking to us this morning.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's fantastic to see you and everyone else here as well.
Thank you very much. Well,
So, Yes, go ahead.
Well, I just want to know at this point, how can this American Rescue Plan Act help you in Cobb County? And what can we as a committee or the state of Georgia do to help facilitate what you need?
Sure. So you guys actually covered a lot of ground with some of the things that are top of mind. We talk about distribution of funds when it comes to rental assistance, and certainly there's been a lot of coordination, partnership to do as much as possible to get those funds out. And I believe we are moving at a pretty good pace. We're nowhere where we need to be or where we should be, but it's a pretty good pace for the infrastructure in place and how many people we need to serve and triage through. And as mentioned, we did apply some additional funds because that was one of the constraints with the ERA is there was a cap on the administrative fee that could be assigned to processing all of the applications. And I'm sure we're not the only metro county that experienced, it's not sufficient for the volume of applications that need to be managed. And so with ARP, we were able to append to that, to those available funds and try to increase the capacity of those organizations. Something else to just point out with eviction. So what we found that worked really well, and we've shared this as well as best practice, just putting it out there. But in partnership with the courts, we actually have representation for these rental assistance programs at eviction court itself. So even if someone slips through the cracks, they never heard about the program, they don't know how to apply, they don't have the means to, or their issues, we still catch them in court. So someone is there to try to redirect a really bad outcome. And then secondly, something else that came through in our most recent agenda was to basically through ARP funds, provide some representation in court for those civil matters related to rental assistance. Now we know it's a much bigger conversation because civil proceedings, you're not guaranteed right to counsel. And many times it can be just as devastating as a criminal court proceeding. But this is at least a step in that direction and something that is accommodated by ARP funds. And we're doing that as well in conjunction with Cobb Legal Aid, which is the nonprofit that administers those types of services. You brought up affordable housing. Yes, it's chronic. It was an issue. It was an issue before. It's an issue now, and it will remain an issue after full recovery. But we are looking. I'm looking at standing up a dedicated task force to actually rolling out a pilot. There are about 16 different affordable housing models that we can look at. And potentially the solution is somewhere, either one of the models or a combination of several of those models. Homelessness was touched on as well. Certainly a lot of things to tackle that. I refer to it, there are different aspects of homelessness. There's veterans homelessness, there's chronic homelessness, there's temporary homelessness, there's just someone who doesn't necessarily have a shelter. And it means something different for those different communities. And so how we tackle that also can't be a broad brush. It's looking at specific programs to tackle those individual needs. Something that was not necessarily brought up was the health issues that need to be addressed. So a decent amount of our ARP funds have gone towards reconciling or the continuation of some of those emergency services that were initially put in place, but also continuing those over. There has been additional help with our health departments, making sure that they have what they need, that systems like a call center, making sure that that's functional, because we see the numbers continuing to go up. And then there are just some other secondary things that come along with health issues in general that have to be tended to. Mm-hmm. Something else that didn't necessarily come up was mental health. So this is really high up on the radar, and certainly it's broad when it comes to making sure that the different organizations have the resources they need, but also that people know where to go and know how to recognize when they have an issue or when someone around them has an issue. I've been personally affected by many in this area as well, and the services are just not adequate at this point. This is an area of need. I know we have an upcoming town hall on mental health as well to try to bring some of the minds together. And there's just a lot of space for improvement in that area. Something else was the food and service distribution. So we, the way that we organized the initial run through, because most of our funds with ARP, we're actually not going to spend until after the consultants go through and do some recommendations, because we really want our investments to be strategic for the here and the later, for the now and the later. Especially since you want to stick to capital investments as opposed to ops, because ongoing cost versus something that's physically there. So really looking at what are the best strategic investments we can make so that we can have some long-term viability and make sure that we can rebound in terms of disaster recovery. And if there are programs, ways to address some of these chronic issues that we face, certainly how do we position those funds to do that? But the funds that but also for food and different services that are administered through many organizations. So we took about $1 million and put it into a bucket, and those funds are prioritized based upon the need and the service scope of different organizations, and organizations were awarded those funds in order to do their food distributions and whatever other services that they wanted to employ. Something else that we have, just something that's really important, and this was brought up, we're ongoing disasters. So, we did have evacuees in town. I had many family members that were up here as well. Many that have had a lot of property damage. And then of course we had local flooding with several storms that came through last night. And so working on identifying how do you balance those different demands, right? We have a larger crisis, and then we have, of course, ongoing disasters that take place, and setting ourselves up strategically for that. So that is something that is not unique to Cobb. That is across the board around the state, and striking that balance. And then employment. It's multi-pronged, making sure that people are going back to work, but that they are being gainfully employed, that they are being employed in a way that can sustain their livelihoods, and that they are, if that's not the case, that they are being put in the position where they can be successful. So whether that means training or extra investment from the company, those are different programs that I'm looking at. Sharon referenced the Bridge to Success program. That is an extension part of my story, right? When I came to New Orleans, when I came up here with my family from Katrina, my parents were in between. They were in between paychecks, and my mother had no job. So she wrote a letter to the company here and asked she asked to be hired. And so they hired her, and they also adopted our family. And they put an extra $1,000 towards rent for the first 6 months, for the first year. And that allowed my family, because we know that once you're unemployed, it digs a deeper hole. You wind up going into debt, and then you're always one emergency away from being on the street. So the idea was to take that program model and expand it across to Cobb County residents. And so we have several companies that are interested in hiring and making that exact type of commitment to help families no longer experience chronic poverty, because it impacts generations. I'm living proof of that.
Wonderful.
So that is my full list for now.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I want to put together an advisory council, because this is going to be an issue, because this money will be here until December 31st of 2025. And so we have 2 subcommittees, and now I see that we need an advisory committee. And I want brilliant young leaders like you on there. And so please consider being a part of our advisory committee. You have touched on all the issues that continue to come to us. And I am glad to explain the different parts of homelessness. Some people think that all homeless are drug addicts under a bridge. They don't realize that there are families under there. There are people who have lost their jobs, who have different reasons to be homeless. And there's some that are very temporary. We even had someone to come to my office this morning that just got a job, but she says she's homeless and can't afford anywhere to live. So she has to go to a shelter every night. But she has a job, and she's going to be out of that situation very soon. But right now she is in it. So that's one thing that we need to look at and how we can help. So I'd like to have more conversations with you about what you're doing in Cobb, or what your ideas are on how to eradicate homelessness on the different levels. And you talked about the mental health, and that is a serious challenge. I was talking to the Douglas County police chief, Douglasville police chief yesterday, and I was told, and one of the judges, and they said the jails are full of not just criminals who are regular guys, but of the mentally challenged people, those who have serious mental illness. And they are in the jails, and they're filling up the jails. So we do need to concentrate on that. If money is available to go to a mental health court, so you can make sure that you identify those people with serious mental challenges, and before they're incarcerated and put into the population. People are dying in these prisons and are being maimed, hurt badly. So we need to put some of these special programs that are no longer in use because the money's ran out, but they had began to start helping people. So some of that money needs to go in there. But please consider being a part of our, it's called the Rescue Plan Advisory Council. And it's going to be short-lived. I know you're very busy, we all are, but I think you know me, and I always say that if you want to get the job done, get a busy person to do it, because we always follow through and complete the task. So I hope that you will be on it. I'm very proud of you, of what you're doing, and we will consider some of the things that you have talked about today and see if we can move forward in trying to help Cobb County I know you got money as a county, but there's money also available for not just infrastructure, but for some of these special programs that had problems because of the coronavirus. So thank you very much for being with us today. Do you want
Thank you, and I'm honored.
anything in closing?
Just, let's keep it on. Let's keep going. Let's make it happen. A lot of people depend on us.
I know. Keep up the good work. And you look like you did when you were working here at the Capitol. You're still a very young, brilliant young woman. Thank you so much. And we're here for you. I look forward
Thank you.
to more. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye. And that was our commissioner, everyone, from Cobb County, Jericho Richardson. And you can see that she's on top of all of these issues. And that's what we need to do, continue to be on it. Do we have Billy Mitchell on the phone with us? Representative Billy Mitchell? Can we hear from?
Yes, I'm here, Senator.
Hello, my leader.
My leader. How are you all? It's good to be with you, particularly for this cause. And you know, I want to start off, Senator, by saying to you, you know, we're doing this work while recovering from COVID and pneumonia, as well as leading the committee today. I tell you, you should be applauded. You've always been a valiant legislator and representative of the folk, of the people, have sponsored more legislation than almost any legislator presently serving. And I just want to let you know on behalf of the National Caucus of Black State Legislators, we're going to honor you. The holding these hearings has reached national implications. I'm talking from Florida, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, North Carolina, Tennessee, and others. And I want to be amongst those who applaud you for your work, because this is what true representation is all about. Secondly, and just as importantly, I want to say that one of the reasons I believe, as a matter of fact, it's documented, that we have problems with the distribution of funds from the American Rescue Plan is that virtually every state has stringent reporting and accounting practices for the grants that they receive from the government, but not so stringent on the interest, what they do with the interest that they receive for these funds. So as a result, what you have is you have states who are literally holding on to the money as long as they possibly can, because they can do whatever they will with the interest. The last time I looked, only 11% of the funds that were to be utilized for rental assistance has been distributed. And I think that's a tragic shame. And that's a legislative fix that we need to get into. Talking to the Biden administration, they're going to make a concerted effort to make sure that the more of the funds gets distributed by local governments. So I'm so glad to see that we have county and city council officials on the call, because there's going to be efforts to make certain that they can get their hands on the proceeds so that they can get directly to the people much quicker than the states have done so. I'm here and available, waiting to continue to work with you, Senator. And anything that I can do that you foresee that needs help, let me know. We'll be glad to continue to be involved. And thank you, Sharon J. Hill, for all your work.
Well, we thank you for all of your work, and we thank you for being here with us today, and for what you're doing in the House of Representatives here. You're doing things all over the country, and I understand, but you don't let Georgia lack as a result of the other responsibilities that you have. You look out for your district first, and for the state of Georgia. I think it was, I'm trying to think, one of the governors used to say, don't forget, when you're doing all of this and sitting here and serving, you better dance with the one that brung you.
Oh, no question about that.
You got here through your district, so you dance with the one that got you here.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you and all that you do. And we're gonna need your help on some legislation, because that's what we're meeting for, to make sure that we not only inform people of everything about this money, but that we also have transparency and make sure that we get our fair share back in our districts.
Yeah, and I will tell you, Senator, I believe Andrew Heaton is still on. Perhaps he can give us a status report. We're talking about infrastructure, and the Senate in particular has debated what is infrastructure. I personally believe that outside of certainly we need roads and bridges and the like done, what it does to the economy and jobs. Certainly that's important, but we also need a human infrastructure bill. We need to make certain that people can be made whole in these pandemic times. We're about to see the largest transfer of wealth in the history of this nation, from particularly people in the urban areas, as a result of the expiration of the moratorium on rental evictions and foreclosures.
Yeah.
It's going to be devastating what happens in this country. And we need to see if we can head that off. We need to find jobs for people and certainly give them an opportunity. Despite what you hear, there are some barriers to employment that we've got to overcome. This doesn't look like a gangster rap crowd here, but even Tupac Shakur said it best. It feels good to pay the rent when the rent is due, signifying that even he understood what the economic opportunities could do for you.
Exactly. Wonderful. Look, we have great Georgia General Assembly leadership talking to us right now, and we really appreciate you, and we want to continue to work with you. You suggested that we jump over a couple of folk and come back to them because we need to hear from Andrew Heaton, the outreach director of the Northwest Georgia, and he works for Senator Raphael Warnock. And thank you very much, Honorable Billy Mitchell, and we will now call on representative from Senator Warnock's office, Andrew Heaton.
Yes, Senator James, good afternoon. Thank you for having me once again here before the committee.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to kind of an update on what you think is going on as far as your U.S. Senator and where we need to go from here as a state, or any thing that you can add to what's been already said. I think Billy Mitchell wanted you to specifically talk about some of the infrastructure or something. I know that bill is pending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, and I appreciate so many of the remarks that have already been said today. As you say, a lot of issues have already been addressed, and so I'll try to hit it from our angle and our perspective, just from the federal level. As we talked about last time I was on the committee or before the committee, and we had talked about the provisions within the rescue plan, interim rules about spending guidance and allowable spending. And we talked about how infrastructure, specifically water, sewage, and broadband, were a part of that. And at that time, I advised that I thought it was best that a lot of counties and municipalities wait to see what came out of the Senate in terms of the infrastructure bill. Now we have seen the infrastructure bill has passed out of the Senate, the 1.9 trillion infrastructure plan that is now in the House. We all kind of watched the discussions around that a few weeks ago, and the negotiations between House leadership and some of the membership there about proceeding. It looks like now we will probably be, at least for approximately 3 weeks to a month or so, we'll be waiting for a vote on the House's version of the infrastructure bill, while they also debate the reconciliation package, which is a much larger package and a slightly more contentious package throughout the House and the Senate on both sides of the aisle. But as far as the infrastructure plan goes, and specifically when we talk about water and sewage and broadband, the infrastructure bill that passed out of the Senate allocates hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars to those areas, to water and sewage and broadband. And so while we are still going to wait a little bit to see the House pass its version and then a final version go to the White House, I think we're all pretty confident that at this point some version will make it to the White House. And so money for those type of projects will be coming again from the federal end. And so I kind of continue again to encourage folks who have been leaning towards that, especially on the county level, to maybe hold the powder on water and sewage spending out of rescue plan funds while we wait to see that final package pass out of the House and then make its way to the White House. I would also say, and the Senator knows this well, as do other members of the Assembly who have been working on the different committees with the state's rescue plan allocation. Obviously, the state extended its deadline for applications to the state funding until the end of October. And again, the allowable uses out of the state's pot of rescue plan funds include, and at this point are pretty heavily focused on including broadband, water, and sewage. And so we once again are encouraging everyone to use the time that is given for the spending of the rescue plan, especially the counties, municipalities. And, we now, the state has posted the list of all the non-entitlement units, which are essentially the smaller metropolitan and city and townships, their allocations of the rescue plan funds. And some of them are fairly large. And you've got a lot of cities around the state that have received $1 million+ dollars. So when you tack that on to what the counties have received, and when you tack that on to the state's pot, there's a lot of allowable usage here, and there's a lot of opportunity for counties and cities and areas to address needs from multiple pots, thus freeing up their remaining county and city allocations to address a lot of the things we're talking about here, like homelessness, like struggles with rent, like struggles with small businesses staying afloat, and I think some of the other issues that have been addressed just in terms of getting those allocations and actually getting those monies distributed. We continue to call agencies and talk to leadership when we can to encourage however it can to speed up the process of distributing those funds. But I also appreciate, as Representative Mitchell addressed, there are very stringent reporting rules around all of these expenditures. And so I especially appreciate the smaller governmental units at the county and city levels wanting to make sure they're doing everything as best they can, because they understand there is a lot of reporting that's going to go along around this. But with that said, I continue to just encourage everyone to look at all of the different pots of money, especially the state, as well as there are several federal agencies that still are sitting on rescue plan and COVID relief funding for various programs that could also address some of the things that counties and cities are looking at spending on, emergency response vehicles, things like that, that they might be able to tap into those funds to once again allow more county and city funding to be available to address some of these other socioeconomic issues coming out of the pandemic, some slightly predating the pandemic, but that could make a larger community impact past just some of the basic infrastructure projects. That nothing to take away the importance of those infrastructure projects, but we've got other money coming on the way for those. And so I continue to thank the committee for allowing me to come talk about this, for engaging our office in this conversation. As always, my email and my phone are always available to answer any questions that we can from a federal level. Obviously, at this point, with the funds out, a lot of it is now fully in the hands of the state, the counties, and the cities, but we will always offer any assistance and guidance where we can.
Well, Mr. Heaton, please let Senator Warnock know that we are very happy that you're working with us, and that you're informing us of many of the things that were unaware of, or that have been questions that have come up here in this meeting that we had not answered. I was going to call on our research department to give us some information a little bit later on where we might be right now with some of the committees, if she knows about that. So thank you. We're going to continue to work with you. And we're going to go on to, we might call back on you if you're still here.
Unfortunately, I do have another meeting I've got to jet off to here in a bit. So I'll hang around for a little bit, but I will have to head out here shortly, unfortunately. But
by Senator Dr. Michael Rett from Cobb County. His county commissioner, Jericho Richardson, is the one that just spoke with us. And, I told you she used to work here at the Capitol when she was at Georgia Tech. She was a brilliant student there. So we were so blessed to have her. And so I know we're blessed to have both you, Dr. Ritt, and Jericho Richardson working for the people in Cobb County. Did you want to make a comment now or later? Because we have Patty Bentley is next. Representative Patty Bentley is not just a state representative, but she works with the funeral homes. And I know that that has been a big impact, even in people who were catching the coronavirus, going to funerals or from people who died with it. And so I wanted to ask her, after you say hello to everyone, exactly what we need to do to make sure that her form is filled out before October 31st for any special needs that they need.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pleasure to be here. But I'm going to defer to speaker later on so I can let our distinguished guests make her presentation.
Well, we thank you very much, Dr. Red. We'll get back to Dr. Red in just a few minutes. I hope that Patty Bentley is still on with us. I know that we have some long answers here. And so I hope you're on. Are you here with us, Representative Bentley?
Good afternoon, Senator. I
Good
am on the line. Yes.
Awesome. Well, we know that you work with many committees. Are you on the governor's American Rescue Plan Act?
Yes, ma'am. I am. I'm on the committee for broadband. So yes, there's 3 segments to that committee: water and sewage infrastructure committee, and broadband and negative economic impact committee. But I'm on the ones representing broadband, because that is such a all 3 are very, very important, but broadband is extremely imperative across the state. So we certainly need broadband in all areas of the state. So that's the committee that I'm sharing, serving on. Yes.
Awesome, because I'm glad that we have you on that committee. So I know that everything is going to go forward. I think one of our members, I don't know which one she was assigned to, but Freddie Powell Sims, who is on this committee, but she's on the Zoom as well. And she's serving on one of the committees. So he put his best on his committees. So we thank you. Have y'all had any meetings yet? Are you starting meeting?
Yes, there was an initial meeting in the very beginning, and I apologize if my video keep going out. I keep getting calls about my 4-year-old grandson is in pre-K, and he had to leave early because he's not feeling well. So everyone is calling me about that. So I do apologize if I'm fading out. But that's kind of why I need to get off here shortly. No worries. But I wanted to make sure that I did get on and give greetings on behalf of House District 139, which includes Taylor County, Macon County, Dooley County, and the city of Fort Valley. The Fort Valley State University is in House District 139. Bluebird Body Company is in House District 139. And we'll love to invite all of my friends and colleagues out of Metro Atlanta, DeKalb County, Cobb County, Fulton, and come on down to House District 139 and get a chance to experience what Georgia is really about down in the rural part of the state. Yes.
We will do that. Thank you. I'll accept the invitation.
Absolutely. And also, as you stated, in addition to serving on this committee that the governor appointed Senator Sims and I to serve on, yes, I'm in the funeral business. I married into that business 12 years ago. And of course, you all know my husband passed away in June, one day after our 12th wedding anniversary from complications of COVID. So I just want to encourage everyone that's listening and watching to please listen to what science is telling us to protect ourselves, get vaccinated. Please do all that you need to do, wear your mask, just do what you can to protect yourself. I went through a horrible experience with my husband's sickness. He contracted the virus right after the Christmas holiday, the surge, and we ended up in a hospital 3.5 hours away from home. And it was just really tough on me driving. And it happened to be during the time that we were in session. And so I was having to drive from Atlanta to Savannah back to Butler over 600 miles one way every week. And that was just really tough. But I thank God that I made it through by the help of the prayers and support from all the members of the House of Representatives and Senate. And so I just wanted to make sure that no other family have to go through that type of situation. That was no fun at all. And I just don't want to see another family have to endure all of that heartache and pain and that travel up and down the road. So just do what you can to protect yourself. And yes, I'm hearing, families talk about there's funding out there from FEMA to help cover cost of funerals. And yes, that is true, but that's after the fact. FEMA's going to reimburse you after the funeral. They're not going to give you money up front for a funeral.
Mhm.
So, we just want people to be aware of that. Yes, there's funding out there to help after the funeral if the words COVID-19 is on the death certificate, but still protect yourself. Let's not even try to focus on what's available to pay for a funeral. It wouldn't be a funeral if we just do what we can to make sure that we are protecting ourselves and protecting our families and our neighbors. So I can go on and on about that. The Georgia Funeral Service Practitioners Association State Convention is coming up next month down in Troup County. And so representatives from Senator Warnock office, any candidates that are running for statewide office, you need to get to know the members of the Georgia Funeral Service Practitioners Association, a heavy association across the state. So if you don't know them, I encourage you to get to know them soon. And the state convention is the September 18th, that weekend of the 18th through the 21st, I believe, and it's in Troup County. So if you want to learn more about that, we can connect after to provide you with some information. But Senator James, I thank you for all that you're doing, serving as the chair of this committee and including rural Georgia. I really appreciate that because oftentimes people whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, they seem to forget about there's another part of the state down below Atlanta. So I appreciate you thinking about us and including Senator Sims and myself a part of your meeting. So thank you. And thank you, Sharon Hill, for all of your hard work and your engagement as well.
And also Senator Harbison is a member of this committee, and Dr. Red is sitting in with us, and so is Dr. Lester Jackson, one of the senators. So we all been working and we're on the phone talking about things. And I know full well what you were just talking about as the COVID and how everybody needs to protect themselves and be vaccinated. In fact, this American Rescue Plan Act, as President Biden said, was the first thing they did besides giving everyone some kind of money in a household. He also said that it's for vaccinations. And he wanted to make sure that that money was available so people could get free vaccinations if they needed it and free test. And he's going to talk about that more on his next presentation, I believe tonight or tomorrow. So we want to make sure that your committee also looks at it's a executive order that went along with that American Rescue Plan Act. And so many of the people on the committee did not know about the executive order. So I want to make sure that I send all of the members a copy of it so you'll know that underserved communities have to have priority.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is something we need. And don't you have a birthday coming up?
I do, on the 20th.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you for thinking of that, remembering. Thank you.
I'm so sorry that you had to go through so much this year with your personal struggles.
Yes.
With your husband.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And I don't mind sharing my story if it's going to will be a way to help another family. I'll certainly be willing to share that.
And as careful as I was, I still contracted it. also during January. And I
Mhm.
left, I could not come back, went in the hospital, and I was there after the session ended 4 months later. Then I went on a nursing home, but I'm here today because I fought and fought. But
Yes,
you have to persevere and you have to really make yourself get stronger. And I'm not gonna say that other people who are dying are not, because it's all of us handle it differently. But
right.
nobody needs to go through what you and I have gone through with this. And before you leave, though, I want to ask you about Black farmers, because I know that you are in the rural area, and I know that Black farmers have been contacting this committee to ask us if it's monies to help them. I know that there was money that went to agriculture, but they say that it's not really being directed to them. So do you have any comments about the Black farmers in your area, or the organization that I know speaks highly of you all the time? So I know that you have a relationship with them.
Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of information to share about funding
Bentley.
that. Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I
Someone
can,
else?
thank you.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, someone else came in. I apologize, Senator, that I don't have a lot of information at this moment to share regarding funding that may be available for Black farmers, other than helping them connect with organizations that are doing the day-to-day work, trying to provide resources to farmers. I know back in the summer, early part of the summer, Senator Warnock and Senator John Ossoff both were at Fort Valley State University's College of Agriculture meeting with Black farmers, along with our U.S. Secretary of Agriculture. And so that was a day of history on the campus of Fort Valley State University. We have our two U.S. senators and the Secretary of Agriculture on that campus speaking with Black farmers about, just to hear from them about their concerns and their issues. And those senators vowed to do all they can to help them, with their issues of funding. I know that there's money that did come to the state for agriculture, but that went to the Department of Agriculture that I'm aware of. I would be curious to know if there's, I know Commissioner Gary Black has been in a communication quite a bit with folks at Fort Valley State, but is there how the Black farmers, are they getting much resource or help assistance from our State Department of Agriculture? I know there are some small nonprofit organizations that have been doing some things to help. But I do know that our commissioner has been trying to be engaging, but I'm not sure if that's actually been happening. And if it's not, I will be happy to intervene and try to make those connections for farmers across the state, not only in my district, because my district, House District 139, is very heavily agriculture. So anything that I can do in that regard, I'll be happy to connect. And I want to make sure that Black farmers know that Fort Valley State University can be a big resource to you. So if you have not formed a relationship with the College of Agriculture, Dr. Knowles, who's the Dean of the College of Agriculture, please reach out to me in the House of Representatives, and I would love to help facilitate something to connect you and help build that relationship, because there's often times information that's come across that department that could be used to help farmers across the state, especially in rural Georgia. So if anyone's listening and watching have not formed a relationship with the College of Agriculture at Fort Valley State University, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to make that connection for you. So I hope that helps. Yeah.
That's wonderful. They were telling me something about $90 million they got appropriated, but they didn't get any of it. So I don't know about that.
Yeah, Senator James.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually put a link in the chat, and what I'm going to ask for, because since we're on the issue of rural towns and communities, we may need to put together, and this is just a recommendation that I want to put out on the floor. We may need to create a special committee specifically for our rural towns and communities, particularly around technical assistance, to make sure that they're getting the information, because upon our tours, a lot of the mayors and municipalities are not getting the information. Also want to recommend that, definitely Peach County, Fort Valley area kind of be our hub. And I would like I don't want to put it out there, but Representative Bentley be a part of that special committee so we can address the issues of smaller towns, rural communities. And as it relates to the monies that were appropriated to African-American farmers, it is currently tied up into litigation right now. So
yes, I certainly want to be a part of that. And let's start some brainstorming right away to coordinate a meeting down in Fort Valley at the university. So maybe after this call, maybe Sharon,
I will actually be down on the 17th, so I will talk.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, let's make that happen really soon.
Absolutely.
And Ms. Bentley, this is Reverend Farrell Malone from Fresh Communities. We have toured the 42 cities in rural Georgia. We work directly with Dr. Knowles and Dr. Lattimore at Fort Valley State.
Okay.
And we want to make sure we're on the cutting edge and a part of that. The rural areas is our major emphasis. And I want to thank you for your leadership over the years. But we are working with Fort Valley Mobile Technology Center went with us at 42 cities this year, specifically going to the rural areas. So yes, we want to be a part of that. And we continue to want to work with you as we have done before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to hear this, and I'm ready to coordinate this meeting and get some folks to the table and see how we can connect some dots and make some things happen in rural Georgia.
Ms. Bentley.
I would love to be with all of you.
Ms. Bentley.
I've gotten calls from the.
Yes, this is Pastor Bernie. I'm the former pastor of the historic Shiloh Church there in Albany. There is a Shirley Sherrod that I really do think you should reach out to. She is the wife of Charles Sherrod, who began the Albany movement there in Georgia. So I think she will be a great ally to you. She has talked to me about this kind of thing on many occasions, and I think that she can provide some great leadership in that regards. Also, as a interstate representative of Florida, joining you today, I am more than welcome to reach out to the historic Florida A&M University as well to see if they will partner with you in this cause.
Amen.
Oh, absolutely. Very good. Thank you, Dr. Bernie, for that. Yes.
You're very welcome.
Bernie,
well, I'm excited. I'm ready to get to work to make this happen and get you all down to Central Georgia on the beautiful campus of the Fort Valley State University.
The Fort Valley State University.
And I will host you. All you have to do is show up. We believe in feeding you down in rural Georgia. So I will take care of hosting you. We just need you to show up. So I'm committing to that right on this day.
Yes, ma'am. And Dr. Larry Rivers, your former president, currently he's my former professor, believe it or not. So I will see if I can reel him back in on your behalf.
Please do.
Ma'am. He's a great leader.
Thank you for that. He is. Amen. Yes.
Well, Representative Bentley, thank you so much. I look forward to working with you.
Absolutely.
Dr. Michael Redd and I are sitting here in room 450 of the Capitol, and we said, don't forget us, especially after you talked about the good food.
Yes. Oh, yes. We're going to feed you now. I'm going to make sure you get fed. You come to my district.
Dr. Bambi said, don't forget her too. She made it very clear in the chat.
I have a long list of the farmers who have been contacting me, and I'll make sure that they are a part of your meeting.
Okay. Amen. Very good. Very good.
We're excited. Fresh Communities had our launch at the C.W. Brady Group Center on the Fort Valley State University campus. We started the initiative right there in Fort Valley. Amen.
All right. Wonderful. Thank
Reverend
you.
Malone, tell her about the president going with you on the 21 city tour and vaccinating people, giving vaccinations.
Yes, we've Dr. Mark Lattimore, who's over the College over the Agricultural Extension Service. I know you know him, and
Yes.
he's been a part of going to the sites, making sure Fort Valley's team also assists us in getting the vaccinations done. We've been working with the vision, the voters, and the vaccines on the 3V tour. Fort Valley has literally been the backdrop to what we're doing. So we've been able to connect in town hall meetings with mayors and commissioners and pastors to get them involved. We've also been able to put forth the 4-year scholarship in agriculture that's been afforded at Fort Valley State. So we're excited about working together, and we continue to pray with you and for you. And we look to be at Fort Valley. They got the best food in the world. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Representative Bentley. We have
Yes.
Senator Davenport that has been holding to talk to us about some of the, she's also in real estate, and she's been working with the Empire Real Estate Board and the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. So we're going to go now to you. We applaud you for coming in on, I call it your birthday week celebration, because I celebrate the whole month when my birthday May. So happy birthday again. And
Thank you.
And we will be back in touch with you. And after Senator Davenport, we want to hear from Michael Hill and from Dr. Malone. If you have other things to say, we want to hear from you after that too. But at this time, Senator Gail Davenport from District 44 and Barbara Guillory, the owner and the Level Blend Capital member of that National Association of Real Estate Brokers. Are you here with us?
Yes, ma'am. I am Barbara Guillory.
Okay.
And I think Senator Davenport is on as well.
Okay.
So
why don't you tell us if you can in 3 minutes, because we have, have less than 30 minutes before we end. So,
okay.
And we got to hear from from Michael Hill and from Reverend Mallory. And I wanted to mention a couple of other folk after you. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So I do want to start out by saying thank you, Senator James, for your vision here and just widen the net here to bring in all the people. It is truly making a difference. I'm very excited about everything that I've heard on this Senate hearing, and just want to say thank you for doing so. I am with the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. That is the oldest Black national trade group for real estate professionals, which include brokers, agents, inspectors, mortgage bankers, just anyone affiliated with the real estate industry. Our local affiliate is the Empire Board. And some of you may be familiar with the Empire Board, but we have always advocated for home ownership. This is the opportunity with the American Rescue Plan to put in place a plan to increase home ownership. In increasing home ownership, we're looking at down payment assistance. The down payment assistance, and I'll just give you a scenario here. If it was $25,000 down payment assistance, you have renters that can pay the mortgage, but may not necessarily have a $25,000 down payment. Through the American Rescue Plan, with $25,000 being allocated for down payment, this is going to stabilize that family, close the wealth gap. It will also increase the legacy for that family to leave behind a legacy for the next generation. In addition to that, the unit that that family was in now becomes available to the next affordable housing tenant looking for housing. As you know, there is a shortage. So by attrition, we will be increasing home ownership as well as affordable housing. Senator Davenport has already agreed to introduce legislation in the upcoming General Assembly. For us to take a look, I have garnered over 100 signatures from organizations, not individuals, but organizations that are in support of the down payment assistance program. Once you have families that are homeowners, they're less likely to move. So you don't have builders, developers coming in, selling the space, the housing, and now the state, the city is faced with having to relocate families. So I want to just ask Senator Davenport if she could mention.
Senator Davenport, are you there? I know that she was with us all the time, but she had to leave early. Do you have her? Senator Davenport, you want to start talking? If so, take yourself off of mute. And then we'll find you because you're apparently on a number we don't recognize.
I also want to mention Dr. Bambi as well. She's in support, as well as thank you, Senator James, for also supporting this effort.
I told Senator
Davenport, I think, yeah, she's on.
Senator Davenport, what's the number? Go ahead, Senator Davenport. Go look and see if you see it. Oh, okay. Can you hear? We can't hear you, Senator Davenport. Hello. We do see you on here, but we can't hear you. Oh, there you are. Hello. Thank you, Senator. Okay, take yourself off of mute. Can you get her?
I think she's still on mute, but I also just want to share that Representative Billy, he's in the House of Representatives. He's also supporting the down payment assistance legislation as well. So we've gotten a lot of great support for the down payment assistance. And I think through the American Rescue Plan, we can increase home ownership as well as affordable housing.
Okay, Senator Davenport, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
You can hear me. Thank you so much. And good afternoon to all of you. Senator James, thank you so much for having us. I just want to speak briefly because Ms. Guillory has told you all, but she will be there representing the Empire Board of Realtors here in Atlanta and the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. And it's focused really on down payment assistance. And when we get that down payment assistance for families, that means that from the American Rescue Plan, that means that we will be closing the wealth gap. If home ownership, the Empire Board of Realtors and National Association of Real Estate Brokers believe in democracy in housing. And if we do that and we want to get more housing, the goal and the mission of the Empire Board and the National Association now is over the next 5 years to get 2 million homeowners in the Black community in homes. And so in order for us to do that, they need down payment assistance. So Ms. Guillory will be working hard on this. She chairs that committee, and I will be introducing legislation. But thank you so much, Senator James, for all you do and for all this help on, I've been on the call the whole time. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but thank you. But thank you so much.
Thank you. And we're so glad that you were able to talk to us. I know your name has been up here, but the whole time. And so I'm looking at everyone. And Senator Sims, we haven't forgotten you if you're still on the line with us. And we're going to come back to Senator Sims. Thank you, Senator Davenport. Thank you, Guillory. And we will look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much. I had to leave my desktop to get to my phone in order to get in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Is that, okay. Okay, we have so many people left on the line that have to speak. So thank you, Ms. Guillory. We'll talk.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Reverend Pharrell Malone, are you still there?
I am. Yes, I am.
Okay, can you speak with us, please?
I sure can. They have a PowerPoint presentation for us. Part of the Rule Initiative working with us is Dr. Bambi Hayes and Sherelle Bird from Sarika Rising, Dr. Bambi Hayes Brown from Georgia Act. And so I'm in the car, so we're going to begin this brief PowerPoint. I think they're going to put it up.
Be brief because we don't have much time, but go ahead.
No problem at all. We're excited because we're doing an accountability.
USA Gym is after that. Go ahead.
Okay, we're doing an accountability, a follow-up of the accountability 3V accountability tour. Myself and Dr. Bambi Hayes and Sister Sherelle Bird. The 3V is the voters, the vaccines, and the vision liberation tour. We're excited because we were able to visit over 42 cities. We were able to power 42 cities on voters, vaccine, and vision. That vision, of course, being the American Rescue Plan and the Executive Order 13985. Over 500 Georgians were vaccinated as a part of that, and we actually were able to engage partnering with 10 organizations. So the 3V tour had definite impact. You'll see there on the tour where you had the information, the vehicles with the my bus, which is a multifaceted bus, a mobile insurance center, along with Fort Valley State University's Mobile Technology Center. And then as we go to the next slide, that is the impact, the 42 cities of 500 Georgians, the 10 partnering organizations, and the impact that we work together with. The next piece deals with the strategic impact. We were able to convene in communities that have often been overlooked. Communities that have been overlooked. The rural areas, we were having the ability to make impact. We met with people where they are. We incorporated entertainment with resources and information. We empowered communities on the get out the vote strategies. We administered this COVID-19 vaccinations and education. We enrolled citizens in the ACA and the Medicare Advantage program during the special enrollment period. We enlightened communities on the American Rescue Plan and the executive order. Towns hall were held in each community, and we collected the data that was needed and necessary.
Wonderful.
Dr. Bambi.
Yes, thank you. Very briefly, I'm Dr. Bambi Hayes Brown, President and CEO of Georgia Advancing Communities Together. We're a statewide nonprofit, affordable housing, and community development membership organization, which we were very instrumental in getting House Bill 346 passed, which is the healthy housing bill that protects tenants against retaliation of landlords who have unhealthy or unsafe living conditions. So some of the results that we had, because Georgia Act, we do a lot of policy and advocacy work on the local, state, and federal level. So we were able to help families on this tour to learn how to engage their local governments and how advocacy works. We also talked about messaging, effective messaging, and case making. And of course, always with an equity focus, according to Presidential Executive Order 13985. And because of these efforts, we have had numerous counties and cities who have asked us to come back. I know my expertise is affordable housing. We have 78 members around the state, including municipalities such as the city of Albany, the city of Sylvester, the city of Warwick. Yes, Warwick. Those cities that have 300 people. So we have gone into all of those counties. The city of Rochelle, they're asking us to, city of Douglas, they're asking us to come back and help them develop a strategic plan and focus on how to ensure those funds are spent. So some of our success stories in Waycross and Ware County, we were able to build a broad-based coalition to advocate for the passage of getting a community center. In Cairo and Grady County, we're instrumental in getting after-school programs through faith-based institutions to help with lost learning. And then Moultrie and Colquitt County, were able to get pay increases for their city employees because we know Black people are disproportionately affected and employed by nonprofit and governmental sectors. So they were able to get raises using those ARPA funds. And then on the next, you can go to the next two slides. I want to show the article. I'll turn it over to back over to Reverend Malone, where he can talk about where you see Senator James and they had their opening. So Reverend Malone, I'll turn it back over to you.
Just briefly, we want to thank Senator Donzella James and the City Committee and all of our partners, Fort Valley State, Sariga Rising, Georgia Act, Black Voters Matter. On the front page of the Macon Telegraph is announcing our tour. So we were very excited about that. There was news coverage throughout the state that and each area that we went into. All right, we're going to go on up and Bambi, you can handle that, and then we'll call on Sherelle, and then we'll be finished.
Okay, yes.
How much more time do you need? Because we are
3 minutes.
okay.
2 minutes.
Plus, since I have about 20 people that didn't speak, we
Okay.
have one more hearing.
Okay, just
So
2 minutes.
We'll have another hearing. We'll try to get it in October, maybe the first week of October. So I will check with the Lieutenant Governor and find out if we can have that meeting to finish up this, because I spoke with the governor and I told him that we had these hearings and we have different questions and concerns and also information that we've garnered through these meetings, and he wants us to make sure that we give it to his committee that he has assigned, because that committee is going to actually decide which of all these applications.
Jump in and finish.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, very brief of what a sample daily schedule went like according to the PowerPoint slide, and you can have a copy of that slide. We went to Fitzgerald, we went to Columbus. We had a faith-based strategic roundtable where we invited the faith-based community in. We had empowerment presentations. We had the town hall meetings that included local elected officials, as well as people in the community to help them map out the vision of how they wanted those funds to be spent, and a unity celebration. And so now I'll turn it over to my colleague, Cheryl Bird, and she will wrap up.
Okay.
Hello, really quickly, if we can,
go ahead.
If we can advance to the long-term strategy. My name is Sherelle Bird, and I am the chair of Sariga Rising. We move people and resources to help rural underserved communities here in South Georgia. If you can continue to advance the slide. Advance. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. So part of our long-term strategy is just making sure that previous slide, just making sure that Southwest Georgia has a long-term COVID recovery plan. So we've taken the opportunity to speak with key leaders across Southwest Georgia. If you could go to the previous slide, please. We've had an opportunity to meet with key leaders across Southwest Georgia to do a needs assessment to find out what are their critical needs after COVID-19. So the top needs were, if we can go to the previous slide, thank you. The top needs were housing relief, health, and economic resources for Black businesses. I'm sorry, let me just pull up my own presentation really quickly. So what we're looking at is applying for funding through the State Fiscal Recovery Fund, as well as the Build Back Better funding. And the purpose of that is to go into our phase 2, which is implementing rural community grocery stores, grants and technical assistance for Black businesses across South Georgia, rural innovation centers, one in Wake House, Georgia, and one in Albany. And then wellness centers and research on the long-term mental and physical impact of COVID-19 the impact that it's had on African Americans, and then creating preventive measures so that we won't be vulnerable to attacks like COVID-19 in the future, as well as a mediation training center for domestic and conflict resolution to reduce the crime spikes that have happened since COVID-19. And then finally, attracting developers for affordable, energy efficient housing, as we've talked about much on this call, and other developers to rural South Georgia. And we want to continue to advocate for improved broadband, rail transit expansion, and industry for South Georgia. I would love to continue to have these conversations at the Rural Initiative call in Fort Valley when we do have an opportunity to meet. And then finally, thank you again, Senator Donzella James, for all that you're doing for the state and for what you were able to do for the 3D tour, as well as the Georgia Senate, any other senators that participated in this tour, and of course, all of our other sponsors, as you see listed on this slide. So thank you again so much, Senator, for your time and your advocacy and for all that you do to support our work here in Georgia.
Thank you. I just represent my committee and some of the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus members because our president chairperson this year is Senator Tanya Anderson, and she's been coming on these lines, even though she may have just given greetings. So we are all in this together, and we know that we want to continue to work with you and to make everything transparent. This whole committee is really working with you, even though you don't see us all the time. And it's good to see all of you again. I did come to Macon and I just saw myself on your PowerPoint. And you know, it was, if I had not been on crutches, I probably would have gone all 21 places with you. So watch out when I get off these crutches. I'm right there with you on the other projects.
Thank you for your support. It's been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator James.
God bless you.
Welcome, and thank
you.
And continue to move forward, because since you have been on that tour, I understand there are other groups now who are concerned about not only this bill, but infrastructure. One is a congressperson, one is a House member that's been here for a long time out of Columbus, and of course the Black Lives Matter is also doing it. They're going around, so y'all are leading us forward, and everybody's recognizing the strength of meeting with the rural areas or with the whole state from your example. So you're leading by example. So I thank you very much. And we got to
God bless you.
Quickly to three more. Well, the faith-based economics, the role that the church plays, and Reverend Charles Burney from Florida was going to speak on that. We have people from South Carolina, from Mississippi, from all over the southern states who have been talking to us on a regular basis, because that $1.9 trillion did not just go to Georgia, it went for the whole United States. And so we've been connecting with all of these people, and we're going to continue to do that because of strength in numbers, and we all can learn from each other or support each other in what we must do in order to get the monies to the organizations that need it, and to the businesses that need it, and the projects. So Mr. Burney, Reverend Burney, how you doing? Hello, are you still with us? Reverend Burney from Florida.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Hey, I can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Senator James, we certainly give honor to the Lord,
Amen.
From whom all blessings flow. And we're here, of course, as a physical representation of the Lord and his work. And we greet you for all the great work that I'm hearing that you've done. This is our first time meeting. I won't be long because I know that there are others who need to speak, and I certainly honor that. I'm the former pastor of the historic Shiloh Church in Albany, Georgia, where Dr. Martin Luther King began the Albany movement there. And I've worked with President Clinton on similar initiatives such as what we're discussing now. I'm going to tell a story. I was going to get into talking about lost learning, the closing of the achievement gap. My wife is a doctor of psychology who works as a professor at Florida A&M University. We were going to talk about wraparound programs that will address truancy within the underserved, underfunded community. We're now partnering with businesses, and we're looking at the possibility of trainings that will also take place on the technical side with that will produce higher paying jobs. But I said all that to get to this story of an experience I had, and I've shared this as the faith-based representative of the Southern Region Roundtable, which represents the 7 Southern states. The story is simply this. Back in 1996, my city of St. Petersburg had a race riot. Before there was Trayvon Martin, there was Tyron Lewis. And Tyron Lewis, he was a young man that was gunned down, which after he was killed, his death set off a series of riots within our city. Long story short, we were in communication with NBC, and eventually it reached President Clinton's office. We got the phone call and he said, "Pastor, what can we do to assist in this matter?" We expressed to the president's representative at that time that there was a problem with jobs, infrastructure, all of those things that we're here talking about today. And as a historian, I do believe that history repeats itself. So that is the purpose of why I'm telling this story. Now, President Clinton was very quick to act. He sent down his chairman of urban and housing, which was Henry Cisneros at the time. Henry Cisneros came down to our church. I found him in a room by himself. And I said to him a question that the Lord had put on my heart. And Mr. Cisneros said to me, he says, "Pastor Bernie, I'm here to present an $8 million check to your community, which will address a lot of the underserved, underfunded issues." And I said, "Thank you, Mr. Cisneros, but there's a question that I have for you." And he said, "Well, ask away." I say, "Will the money get to where it needs to get to?"
All right.
I remember him reeling back in his chair, and he looked at me with a smile I'll never forget. He said, "Pastor, within 2 to 3 weeks, you won't be able to account for any of this money." He said that there will be very little evidence of this money ever having reached your community. And I sat back and I said, wow. And he was absolutely right, because weeks later, after the check had been signed and deposited, all that we had left on the south side to show for the president's effort was palm trees. And guess what? Today in St. Petersburg, Florida, the north side still remains the most developed side in St. Petersburg. Guess what still exists on the south side?
What is it?
Palm trees and plastered buildings. So as I speak to this wonderful Senate group this morning, as well as everyone under the sound of my voice, let's not repeat history. This is an opportunity now for us to take advantage, if you will, for all the right reasons, of an opportunity that may never come again. I need us, and I'm saying this not on the behalf of Pastor Bernie, I'm saying this as a spokesman of the Lord. I need us now, at this time, at this hour, to come together for the first time ever, not to aggrandize ourselves. We've done that before, but to come together as a people who love people, who are willing to work at the underserved and underfunded, to provide programs that we can put our hands on and work towards change that will affect the lives of our children, create generational wealth, and do finally, once and for all, what needs to be done in this nation that says it is truly one nation under God. God bless you. That's all I have to say, other than I'm here for you, I'm with you in the cause, and you have my support in whichever way you need it.
Reverend Bernie, thank you very much. I wish we could close with what you just said, but we still have a few more people who need to speak. And I look forward to working with you. We'll be in touch. Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much, sir.
God
Thank
bless you.
And pray for us right now. There's so much.
I never stop, Senator.
Thank
I
you.
never stop because I'm watching it. I'm the only pastor that can say when I pastored the historic Shiloh, that under my leadership, God did not allow one member to die. We did not go to one funeral, and this is a historic fact under my leadership. So anyone who knows me know that I keep it 100 because I know that there is a God and I know that he's watching us right now.
Amen, amen. Thank you. You know, we want to make sure that the money goes to the right people, just as you just said. And we don't want history to repeat itself. We want to make sure that the Honorable Freddie Powell Sims, Vice Chair, had said just what you said to us just now. And that was her major concern, is that the money gets to the right people.
Yes, ma'am.
She has asked that Dr. Sandra Daly on the Governor's Committee on Water and Sewer Infrastructure, that she says a few words to us before we then go to Dr. Michael Hill and Marquis Tate, the president of the Atlanta Black Chamber. And then we also have one person that's sitting in here with us with the American Jobs Plan and ARPA Closing the Gap in the American Dream. And that's Juliana Njuku. And we're going to try to get to you before we close. Thank you for being here. Everybody didn't get the word that this had turned completely virtual. So I wanted to make sure that those who did make the effort to come all the way to the Capitol and park and come up here get an opportunity to present. But right now, without further ado, I give you Mr. Marquis Tate and followed by Michael T. Hill.
I wanted to make sure you had mentioned Sandra speaking.
Yes, she's going to, do you want her to go ahead and make
Yep.
the presentation first? Okay, well, Ms. Daly, Dr. Sandra Daly, can you please give us your presentation? I know that you're serving on the Governor's Committee on Water and Sewer Infrastructure. Are you still with us? Ms. Daly, I know she's been with us.
I'm here.
Okay, hi, thank you so much for being with us and staying on this whole time.
No problem.
Can you give us a brief presentation so we can hear at least the last three people before we close? And then we'll have another meeting in October. Go ahead.
Well, good morning, committee members and all in your respective places. I am Dr. Sandra Daly, and I do have a presentation. Dr. Senator Freddie Sims had invited me to speak on the recent book that I have written and published and is now for sale. I'm speaking today briefly on abject poverty and mental health. I'm a licensed master social worker and a master addiction counselor here in the good life city of Albany, Georgia. I want to give you a little history. I am the fifth of 8 children born to a poor sharecropper, and his wife in Cairo, Georgia. So I know about poverty. I know about the need for interventions for mental health among poor people, poor individuals, those who do not have a voice. So I briefly am speaking today as a voice for those who do not have a voice. The name of my book that I have written, and I think I'm 2 slides behind, but that's okay. I know we're pushing for time. The next slide. So I am the fifth of 8 children, as I was saying, born to a poor sharecropper and his wife. And I want to speak briefly about the Black community quest for equality, resolving poverty in the Black community, not only here in Albany, Georgia, which is a southern rural state, county, but I thank God for the opportunity to actually represent Albany, Georgia. And I'm hoping that I can make some type of partnerships and collaboration with some of the good people in the northern states to bring some funding down to Albany, Georgia, for those who are living in extreme poverty and who are having mental health problems. Next slide. I have a passion for helping hurting people because I myself grew up in poverty, so I understand what poverty is. Poverty is a socioeconomic issue that needs to be rectified. Why should it be rectified? Because it's generational. And if we are poor, we are apt to have more problems with mental health. If we are apt to have more problems with mental health, then as a licensed professional counselor, I have to tell you that we are more apt to get involved into activities that are not conducive to positive lifestyles. Poverty and minorities have negative images associated with them, and it must change. Most people think that if you are poor, you don't count. But I come to tell you that as an adolescent, as a child, and as an adult growing up in poverty, I am important. And for those of you who have relatives or friends or constituents, we are important, even if we are poor. Interventions for poverty in the Black church and community entails, but are not limited to advocating. We must, and that's what I do here in Dougherty County, Albany, Georgia. I am an advocate for those people who do not have a voice, the disenfranchised, the discouraged, and the ones who are underrepresented. I advocate, and I'm also a contractor with a behavioral health organization right there in Atlanta, Georgia. But we need more resources. We need more support to reach more people, not only in Dougherty County, but all of the smaller rural counties such as Mitchell County, such as Colquitt County. So we're here just to say that we are important. To go on to elaborate on mental health and people with mental health disabilities who are living in poverty, those people need to actually have more resources, more information, more access to get their mental health conditions treated. As a licensed mental health professional, I want to say that here in Dougherty County, I try to reach the small amount that I can, but we do need more help, more representation in Albany, Georgia, and the surrounding counties. It is imperative that all who will start and continue advocating for social and economic change, for justice for all people that are living in poverty. Mental health and poverty together is total chaos. People that are living in poverty that don't understand that because of their mental health, they are not able to really reach out and do the things that are needed for them to obtain that healthy lifestyle. You can go on to my next slide. And I really want to read a poem that I created less than 5 minutes when I was getting this PowerPoint together. But comeback existing and ongoing poverty. If we need reasons for eliminating poverty, here are just a few. People living in poverty have limited representation, continuous cycle of poverty, living in depression, we have low self-esteem, hopelessness, helplessness, and the cycle continues. Next slide, please. Social justice and equality are especially becoming out of reach for the Black church and community in the world's most affluent country. Inequality and social injustice continues to flow as rivers of living water, of dead water, so to speak. It is prevalent in most counties, definitely here in this rural county in South Georgia. Changes should occur on the micro, meso, and macro level. That means in the cities, in the counties, that means across the United States. Poverty in the Black church and community will ultimately lead to economic and social chaos unless due diligence is incorporated into the system of social change. Amen. And I'm also a pastor too, so I know how to condense my PowerPoint so I can get it all in. Next slide, please. I want to just share briefly with you a theorist by the name of Maslow came up with hierarchy of needs. And if we don't have these needs met, and I'm also a licensed master social worker, and I can attest that I've worked with clients who don't have their physiological needs met. They don't have the basic food, water, shelter. I've worked with people who don't have their safety needs met. They don't feel safe. They don't feel secure. They don't feel loved. They don't feel like they belong. They have low self-esteem, and they live and they die without reaching fulfillment. And so we asked about the overpopulation. I'm a 15-year veteran. I was a probation officer. The overpopulation of Black Americans, African Americans incarcerated. We have to look at the fact that these African Americans mostly did not have any of these needs met, so they became stuck. Next slide. Speaking of being stuck, there's also, let me read my poem. When you look at me, what do you see? Do you see success or do you see distress? Do you see plenty or do you see poverty? Do you see education or do you see malnutrition? If you take the time and look closer, you see at one time or the other, always me. When you see me, you see an example of one overcoming poverty. And since I've overcome poverty, I feel that it's my God-given responsibility to reach back and to help those who do not know how to overcome living in poverty. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you. And my book you can order it on Amazon. You can reach me. The information is available for you. Thank you.
I thank you very much. We're very interested, and this is apropos of what we are talking about, because the American Rescue Plan Act monies would go for programs that could help poverty and help the situation that we have now in this country that's reflected in your book. So I better tell my colleague, Senator Sims, that I need to buy your book. So
please do.
Are you on Amazon?
Yes, I'm on Amazon.
All right, well, you sold me. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Presentation. We're gonna go on to these last people, and we might call on you again to talk about the water and sewer or anything that you want to share with this ARPA on our next meeting, hopefully it'll be our last meeting. But at this, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now go back to you, Michael Hill and Marquis Tate.
All right, thank you, Senator James. It's a pleasure being here. I'm going to turn it over to Marquis, and we'll facilitate very quickly from this point, because I know we got a couple of people that's been waiting. So Marquis, I'm going to toss it over to you.
How long is this going to be?
I have no clue right now. It's probably going to be shorter than I know we expect, so we're going to rush through it. So Marquis?
Yeah, we will rush through it. Hello, Madam Chairwoman. Thank you so much for your leadership. We really appreciate you inviting us here again. This is our third go around, so I definitely want to go back to the basics and talk about the executive order. I'm president and CEO of the Atlanta Black Chambers, Marquis Tate, Advancing Black Business PAC. We are organizations that are here to represent Black businesses across this great state. Advancing Black Business PAC received the bipartisan support in House Resolution 250 this past legislative session, with the likes of Representative Michael Gravely and the support of Calvin Smyre, amongst many others across the aisles. I'm here on behalf of several chambers across the state, and I do like to take that time to mention that, even though they'll be speaking on the next go around. But that's the Greater Augusta Black Chamber, Greater Savannah Black Chamber, Northeast Georgia Black Chamber, the River Valley Black Chamber, the Southwest Georgia Black Chamber, amongst many other developing chambers that we're working with across this state. And as we discussed the American Rescue Plan, there are literally trillions of dollars since last year that have come down to the state and local levels by way of the federal government. There has been an executive order that we have talked about throughout this entire meeting, Executive Order 13985, and I think it is definitely appropriate to talk a little bit about that, because that is one of the most important executive orders that has come down from the current administration. And that's executive order on advancing racial equity, as we have talked about, to support underserved communities for the federal government. and equal opportunities is the bedrock, just to paraphrase just a few, and I'm going to skip over some of this just due to time, but opportunity is a bedrock of American democracy, and actually is one of the country's greatest strengths. But for too many times, American dreams remain out of reach, particularly those in the Black community. We know where our poverty level is, we know where we are in our community, and we know that the federal government and local government, state governments have to do more. And that's what this Executive Order 13985 actually talks about, is we have to share this across lines, across the aisle. And that's what we're pushing for with Black chambers across the state. As the stimulus dollars from the American Rescue Plan come down to the state of Georgia, the executive order just mentions a few things of the role of the domestic policy, identifying methods of access equity, allocating federal resources to advance fairness and opportunity, and promoting equitable delivery of those government benefits across equitable opportunities in the communities. And I want to end on, as we are currently working on as chambers, opportunities and projects that can be by the Georgia State Appropriations grant submittal process is going to end on October the 31st. We'll be offering, looking at projects that offer technical assistance, workforce development, micro lending, and grant funding, just to mention a few of those project topics. We're looking forward to helping our Black businesses and the Black community with these dollars. Black businesses represent over 27% of the small businesses across this great state. They are in need of our assistance and access to capital and technical assistance, as I stated. As we develop a strong partnership with local governments across the metropolitan area and the state, Black businesses are looking for that support. Over 41% of Black businesses closed across this nation at the onset of the pandemic. That was more than any other group in the United States. So due to this Executive Order 13985, we're expecting to get funds to help those businesses across this state. Thanks a lot, Michael Hill. I'll turn it over to you, but I'll end in saying, Senator James, thank you so much again for your leadership. We love you, and we're here to support you in your committee. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you so much. I'm gonna toss it over very quickly to Ronnie West. Ronnie, are you there? Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I am here. So you do want me to do the presentation or do?
No, introduce yourself first. We'll do the presentation at the end.
Okay, will do.
I'm gonna try to move us through this very quickly. Go.
Okay. So yes, I am Ronnie West. Great Day Interstate Committee, attendees, guests, and supporters. I am Ronnie West, the president of the Greater Augusta Black Chamber of Commerce. As well as since our inception since 2017, we have provided technical assistance to business owners, hosted business education workshops, financial literacy courses, and more. Organization is officially a 501c6, and we have established our partner organization, GABC Foundation, which is a 501c3. The work is not easy, but it must be necessary to be done. I thank you to all the board members and the volunteers for both organizations and all the hard work that you've done. Our chamber is based in Augusta, Georgia, aka the Garden City, but we serve the entire CSRA. The Central Savannah River area covers 18 counties with a population of over 600,000. 13 of the counties are in Georgia. Our push for innovative programs that works will continue today and for years to come. I'm here to provide testimony in support of equitable distribution of the American Rescue Plan funds and CARES Act funding. Since the pandemic, we have been advocating in our communities to get innovative, equitable solutions and distribution for underserved community and business owners. All of us are experiencing the unprecedented historic pandemic for the first time in our life. It is critical more than ever that hearings like this one today continue to happen across the country. We use our voices, resources, and more to ensure that those hit hardest by the pandemic are not being once again left out of the recovery. Unemployment, housing, food insecurity, health, and businesses have been impacted tremendously, and the story is still unfolding. In accordance with President Biden's Executive Order 13985, we're working to establish programming to assist with the recovery, transitions, and innovation needed for sustainable and growing economy. Some of the main programs we're looking to establish within our area with funding is innovative business incubators and microlending grant programs not yet seen within our community that are utilizing and teaching entrepreneurs for today's ever-changing market, similar to the ones ran by the Northeast Georgia Black Chamber of Commerce, the Incubator Program by Make and Build Small Business Office, growing and creative, innovative agricultural initiatives to address food insecurity, food deserts, and ensuring our farmers can get food to local markets as the ones running with Growing Augusta. Workforce development initiatives like Workforce Strong that support workers who are adding new skill sets as we enter the next industrial revolution. We encourage all municipalities to become innovative in equitable distribution of funds. Thank you, Senator James and the committee for putting this session together today. Thank you for the time today. We look forward as a collective body of Black chambers and commerce in Southern region to get support and working with our governor, with our elective body to move towards equitable and innovative solutions for the Black community. Also, Senator James, today we want to take the time to honor you for your service since 2009 and for your 35th District Georgia State Senate. We thank you for answering the call for from your hospital bill on March 7th to begin the initiative. Senator James serves as the chairman of the Interstate Committee. And I want to just go ahead and just take the time to honor you. Shane, I want to go ahead and if you could go ahead and show the plaque, because I know you have the plaque, and Shane and Senator James, we will get the plaque to you. But we did have this as a surprise for you today. But we really appreciate you for everything you do on behalf of the committee, the state of Georgia, the Southern region, and the Black Chambers of Commerce. And Shane, if you could read that to Senator James for us real quick. Thank you.
No problem. It says, present to Senator Donzella James. On behalf of the Southern Regional Economic Roundtable, we would like to recognize you, Chairwoman, for your dedication at advocating through your Interstate Cooperation Committee to ensure we are aware of and the implementation of the American Rescue Plan Act 2021. Thank you.
Shane, can you go ahead and give remarks? Thank you, guys. Great job. Can you go ahead and give remarks on behalf of the Northeast Georgia?
Hold on, I gotta.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I gotta thank them. I'm so honored and overwhelmed, and I accept it on behalf of the entire committee. It's my honor to serve, and I am just pleased that I'm working with people who work hard too, because it's easy to work with all of you. Over the years, I've been working sometimes, and the people who wanted things never interacted with me and never went halfway. So I have to go 100% of the way. And with all of you who have come forth, I tell you, I need to be giving all of you a plaque. So thank you again. And Mr. Hill, I'm gonna let you go on and finish. The 3 people behind you. One lady is here who is gonna present. And then I wanted to know if Fodak is on, Nicholas House, and Chris Brand is with Fodak, and then the Kids USA Gym, Kids Gym USA. I gotta at least let them just say hello. They'll hopefully come back and present at the next meeting.
Okay.
But without further ado, Mr. Hill, please finish.
All right. Either Shane, either Shane or Sharice.
Thank you. Mhm.
All right. I'm Shane Blackwell, president of the Northeast Georgia Black Chamber of Commerce located here in Athens, Georgia. Some of our areas of critical community needs are small business development, affordable housing, youth development, mental health, healthcare, community development, capacity building. Some talking points are, Athens is the smallest landmass out of 159 counties here in Athens, but we're continuing to steadily grow. Last census report stated that we had 126,000 population, but yet 1/3 of our population is in poverty, which doubles where the state is as a whole. 30% of our children under the age of 18 are impoverished. The median household income in Athens is at 39,000 versus what the state median is at 62,000. Ways to increase income is to be serious about a livable wage and to invest in small businesses and higher education for those who were left out because of the cost of trying to get a higher education, who have eluded them for years. The ARP funding is designed to help the disadvantaged communities. Therefore, we look forward to working with you, with your working relationship with you, Senator James, and your Interstate Corporation Committee. Again, Senator James, we thank you for your dedication and hard work. It doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you.
Sharice Allen. I'm sorry, Sharice Stevenson.
Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been such an informative meeting, and I appreciate all feedback. My name is Sharice Stevens. I am with the Central Georgia African American Coalition. We are based here in Macon, Georgia, but we serve the surrounding counties, which is 7 counties and 13 cities. Our focus is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And for this month, I do want to highlight, we did celebrate National Black Business Month. We had 14 activities, including a proclamation for the first time with Macon-Bibb County recognizing National Black Business Month. We had cash mobs in which we supported local businesses. We did technical assistance. We incorporated our business incubator, including our restaurants, which have been heavily hit, and supporting them. And then our final event was our Unsung Heroes of Black businesses in our region. A lot of people don't realize that we've had companies that have been in existence for over 100 years. So for our new entrepreneurs, we wanted them to know that it's a huge foundation for them to build upon. So it was a great month, but we will celebrate it every month and then every year. With a significant number of our Black people in business here in Macon-Bibb County, a lot of them are one-people shops. So they don't have the capacity building, the resources to grow their business. So what we're trying to do is not only the business incubator, but we're also trying to provide the technical assistance and really address some of these underlying issues to bring equity to this entire process. We're thankful for Michael T. Hill and his leadership and bringing all these chambers, and we're just really ready to get to work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Katina Willer.
Hello, I am Katina Wheeler. I'm the Vice President of the Greater Savannah Black Chamber of Commerce, coming here with Tamika McPherson. We are a 501c6. We have been continuing to provide assistance to Black-owned businesses in our community through business advocacy, mentoring, business consulting, including startup and business launch support, education, and networking opportunities. Here in Savannah, African American history and culture is deeply woven. We account for 54% of the population according to our latest census population in April 2020, with one of the largest ports for shipping container traffic. Savannah's port and tourism are the main drivers of the economy. But as beautiful as this city is, it has major disparities for African Americans, particularly in the Black business community. Our poverty rate is higher than the state of Georgia. Our wages are low, affordable housing is scarce, and there are inadequacies in healthcare that are crippling our communities. Many Black-owned businesses were greatly impacted by COVID, as we've heard earlier, creating even more disadvantages. The widening wealth gap is the root of these issues. The ARPA funds are critical to the Black business community at this time. The disbursement of those funds have the potential to minimize the economic inequalities that currently exist. Partnerships with the Economic Roundtable, the platforms that Mr. Michael Hill has provided us, the Georgia Coalition of Black Chambers, and your support, Senator James, for advocating and promoting platforms addressing the disparities, not only in Savannah, but across Georgia, are necessary. We ask that the equitable distribution of these funds have some accountability, that they go to the communities and the businesses that they are targeted for, and that there are transparency with these allocations. Thank you again for inviting me here, allowing me to speak from the Coastal Empire.
Thank you. Curtis Brown.
Can let me say one thing before you leave Savannah. We just had a tourism conference with the governor, and he gave $6 million of the ARPA money to tourism in Georgia. So I hope that Savannah gets some of that money.
We did. You're absolutely right. That did go for tourism. However, we have found that the Black businesses involved in tourism have received very little or none of that money and are allocated to receive very little or low amounts of that fund.
And that's what we need to know, and that's what we're trying to unveil and help correct on this particular committee. I see that Sharon Hill is going to leave us, Mr. Hill, Michael Hill. Are y'all related? Just kidding.
No.
But she has to, she's been with us since early this morning and has to leave. You want to say something? Okay, go ahead, quickly, and then we'll go back to Michael.
Thank everyone for being here today. Thank you for recognizing Senator James and the committee. Remember that we begin again for the more work on the ground in the communities, as Michael is showing us, and our elected officials, as well as our chamber members, as well as our faith community. It takes all of us. That's what this will be. It takes all of us. So I thank you. And just one of the examples, one of the great examples is the DeKalb County Board of Commission from the CEO to the chairman, CEO Michael Thurman, Chairman Larry Johnson, and Commissioner Marita Johnson. What they have done in utilizing the ARPA funds from in the beginning, Commission Chair Johnson, making sure that the funding for food was used. Then CEO Michael Thurman came in and made sure about the vaccinations. And of course, for what we are working on to bringing the funding through our organizations, to the Black organizations, Commissioner Johnson allocated the $600,000 to the Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda, to the DeKalb NAACP, and to the First African American Community Development Corporation. That is how you get it done. Thank you all. Now, let's go. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone. And bless the committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ask for Georgia.
Thank you, Sharon.
I wanted you to take the picture.
Commissioner Bradshaw.
Yes, good afternoon, Senator James, other distinguished senators, the panelists, advisory committees, and all prospective committees and organizations that are present here today. Thank you for affording us the opportunity to voice our concerns and needs in our communities at this public hearing. I'm Commissioner Dakia Bradshaw from Telfair County, and I represent District 2. I also represent Heart of Georgia region, which covers over 17 counties. Our county consists of 5 municipalities. We have a population of over 12,000, which is a huge drop, 4,000, huge drop from 2010. We had over 16,000 back in 2010. At this point, our poverty rate is at 30%. And like I said, I mentioned that we have 5 municipalities. And I was going to give the breakdown of each municipality, but just for time's sake, combined, our area is receiving over $14 million in ARPA funds. So some of the things that we are still reviewing with the municipalities and the county, as well as the Board of Education, how these funds should be allocated. As per Executive Order 13985, a portion of these funds should be set aside for racial equity, undeserved, marginalized, and those adversely affected by persistent poverty and inequality. My efforts are to encourage the county and municipalities, as well as the Board of Education, to engage, utilize, and strategically plan for this money that is set aside, that has been allocated to each entity to be used in blighted properties, education, unemployment, housing, business, small business investment, economic development, mental health, and most importantly, healthcare systems, our healthcare services. So far we have 1 municipality who has actually made plans to utilize some of this funding into the undeserved communities. Again, I want to thank this committee for allowing us the opportunity. Thank you, Senator James, and the Interstate Committee for allowing us this platform. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Curtis Brown.
Thank you. And thank you, Senator James, for this opportunity to present, and thank you to the committee. My name is Curtis Brown, Jr. I'm an entrepreneur out of LaGrange, which is in Troup County. I am representing an emerging chamber effort here in West Central Georgia, which mirrors the Three Rivers Regional Commission. Independent of this effort, I have the pleasure of serving on the Three Rivers Regional Commission as the chair of the Broadband Task Force. So much of the work and the discussion today is close to my heart. I'll make my comments brief. I think many of the issues that have been covered are representative of Troup County and representative of the communities in this region. So I won't reiterate that. What I will say is, as I've engaged with officials at the municipal level, at the county level, and at the regional level, I have been shocked at how uninformed many of our local and regional leadership is around ARPA, around other bills and legislation that allow for funding for communities. So again, thank you for this opportunity to provide education. Here in West Central Georgia, as we are have our effort emerging around the Black Chamber, we have established a working group where we're having bi-weekly meetings. We've established a website to serve as an information hub for a clearinghouse of information. And again, just taking the opportunity as much as possible to inform our community and our leadership about the opportunities, this unprecedented once in a generation opportunity for these ARPA dollars and other federal funding to really make an impact and make a change in our community for the better. So once again, I won't take up any time going through all the issues, because there are plenty. And fortunately, there is the opportunity to use this funding to solve many of those issues. So again, thank you for this opportunity. And thank you to the committee for allowing us an opportunity to be heard.
Thank you, Curtis. Congressman Tooley.
Okay, I'm Councilwoman Sandra Tooley of Augusta, Georgia, and I'm here on behalf of the Southeastern region, which consists of 16 cities in our South Georgia area. And I want to say that our area is a prime area to be the hub to decrease the disparity of how the underserved areas are funded and represented. And also, we wanted to promote an infrastructure for economic growth in the Black businesses here in the South area. We have many rural areas where there is a need for much advocacy for Black businesses. The Black and small businesses need support to thrive, whether it be through technical, broadband, funding, et cetera, we need the support. We're asking initially for equity amounts of funding for our 16 cities in the Southeastern area to promote the formation of Black chambers, programs, and partnerships to eliminate blighted areas in the cities and to provide funding for programs and education to support our Black businesses in our cities within the next few years. I would like to say thank you, Senator James, for your wealth of information and your wealth of support of how you have been helping our Black businesses. And I also have to say to Michael Hill, you have been so inspiring and has gotten the South, or should I say the Southern area boot. You've waken us up to what we need to do. The information has been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilwoman Tucker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator James, for hosting the Georgia Black Coalition of Chambers. I also want to thank you and Senator Sims for your wisdom at the last meeting. After I left the meeting, I went to council and requested that we have public hearings to get community feedback. And from those hearings that we had, we did some reallocations of funds. So we included small Black businesses. We put $3 million to small Black business owners. And we also, not small Black, but small business owners. And then we're also going to apply for $12 million with the state. So thank you for that advice that you gave us. And I want to let you know that, yes, Columbus is the second largest city in the state of Georgia. And we are doing some phenomenal things. Back in July, we officially launched the River Valley Black Chamber of Commerce. During the month of August, we also celebrated National Black Business Month and National Black Philanthropy Month. We did a proclamation from our mayor, and we also kicked off our membership campaign. And in the month of August, we had over 70 people join our chamber, to include Representative Calvin Smyrie. In less than 2 months, our membership is well on its way to having over 100 members. It's evident that we needed a Black chamber in our region, and that's why we would continue to witness rapid growth in the chamber as we recognize the importance of building relationships. It's important that we have Black elected leaders like myself and like you, Senator James, and all of the senators that's involved who understand the plight of citizens in underserved communities and are able to communicate with their peers about the needs of the citizens who suffer with inequities and disparities. Thanks to President Biden and the Democrats' American Rescue Plan, Georgia received more than $17.4 billion to fight COVID and support our recovery. Columbus received $78.5 million of that allocation. Right now, I am asking that we seek equitable appropriations to support projects in certified census tracts, to include but not limited to small Black business owners, affordable housing, crime prevention, homelessness, and to address blight. Again, I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to address these concerns.
And
I
last but
want to
not,
thank you
go ahead, I'm sorry.
before you go to the next person. Let me tell you, you're phenomenal. You did a great job when you went back, because some people listen and never do anything. You went back and made it happen. It was not us. We just were giving suggestions. I'm so glad that you went back and reallocated that money. You know, everyone who has spoken, I have Diego Santana, who is taking minutes and notes, but we still need you to send us something in writing with some of just the points to make sure that in our final report to the Senate, we don't leave out anything that was said here and the current needs that you have, so that everything that's related to the relief in your regions, we want to have on our minutes. And so we do have what we're going to turn them all in at the end of the next meeting in October. But right now, if you could send us just some points that you have made to make sure that we didn't miss anything, because it's been a wealth of information and knowledge that we have received sitting here today, and we want to make sure it's all together. Michael, you might already have it, Mr.
Yeah, I kind of got it. I kind of got a little bit of it. Yeah.
Okay, so we just again would like just something short, a 1 page.
Yes, ma'am.
You send
Yes,
to us, and then we'll make sure too that you're acknowledged, and we send you something back through Mr. Hill, but also from us and from the Interstate Corporation Committee. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator James. And last but not least, Commissioner Young, and I would like Jules to close us out with our next steps action items.
Okay.
Commissioner.
All right, thank you, Michael. Thank you to the committee. Thank you, Chairman Donzella, and also thank you to my Senator Freddie Powell Sims. Everything that has been said is echoed by me. Definitely, we need to keep on working to make sure the money gets to where it needs to be. Down here in Southwest Georgia, Albany, Georgia, we have a 35% rate of poverty, and that's going to be higher in our surrounding counties. And as I've been working since our last hearing, I've been kind of going through evangelizing about the ARP to my other colleagues in smaller cities like Bainbridge, Donaldsonville, even over into Coffee County. And a lot of those elected officials are in need of technical assistance, knowledge, and those things. And I'm happy to be a part of a group that is trying to provide that down here in Southwest Georgia. We're, of course, outside of sometimes of the flow of information and the flow of influence concerning our folks, but we definitely want to get the resources we can utilize to make sure that, as the minister said, that once this money is allocated, that our communities do not look the same as they were previously. We want some significant change. I'm also here representing the newly founded Southwest Georgia Chamber of Commerce, where Sherelle Bird has done a phenomenal job in providing technical assistance to our local small Black businesses who are also very instrumental at providing those things that we need to make a change in our community concerning the wealth gap. We also did a proclamation here at the City of Albany acknowledging Black Business Month, and we were able to recognize the legacy of small businesses here in Albany, Georgia, some who have been in businesses for over 70 years now. So we recognize the importance of Black businesses and how instrumental they are at uplifting our community. If Ms. Sherelle Bird is on the line, I'd like for her to speak to some of the activities of the Southwest Georgia Black Chamber.
Yeah, very briefly, thank you again for allowing me to speak and to present on behalf of the new Southwest Georgia Black Chamber. So thank you so much, Commissioner Young. I stand as the voice of many Southwest Georgians who are no longer going to be at the bottom of the metrics here in Georgia, but we are ready to rise to the top. So I am representing a group called the Southwest Georgia Economic Alliance, which is key leaders from all over Southwest Georgia. And we work together to create solutions for this region and to make sure that our voices are elevated to the highest levels of the state. So I'm grateful for that. And we are all working together to be able to apply for funding so that we can end the poverty rates, as Ms. Sandra said earlier, and to bring resources, much needed resources to our community. As you know, we were really ravaged by COVID-19. We lost many businesses. We've lost many people in this community. And so I am grateful today to be able to speak to you on behalf of Southwest Georgia so that we can continue to ensure that we are getting the resources that we need here in Southwest Georgia. I want to thank Dr. Bambi Hayes-Brown from Georgia ACT, as well as Fresh Communities. They've been huge partners of ours, making sure that information, capacity building, and technical assistance is getting to the leaders, the commissions, and all of our local politicians here to make sure that they're well informed about ARPA, as well as the executive order for racial equity. So again, thank you for this opportunity. You will hear from us, and you will be able to hear some success stories because of the information that is shared on these calls and the calls that are organized throughout the state. Thank you again. Thank you, Commissioner Young, and thank you for this opportunity and for, again, your leadership, Senator James, as well as Senator Freddie Powell Sims. Thank you.
And Senator James, as Ms. Jules closes out for your report information that you're requesting, I'm not going to go through this at all, but I just want you to know, since January of this year through September 2021, over the past 33 weeks, this group has conducted over 380 economic roundtables throughout the Southern region, from equities on topics on education and equity, to workforce development, to our faith-based roundtables, to tourism, to our upcoming infrastructure and contractors roundtable, to agribusiness, to our noted regional economic conference, and our new strategic partnership with the NAACP through the economic development committees. We have done great things throughout the state, starting with the city of Athens, the loan program, meeting with the mayors, elected officials at the federal level, interviews with Black Enterprise Television, different things that are happening in Florida, Albany. You just heard Sherelle launched a great program. She passed out $500,000+ to small businesses. We're excited about what's happening with Savannah, our partnership with Mr. Alex Haversham and the city of Macon, as well as the formation of the coalition and things of that nature. Our Senate hearing, our first Senate hearing with you, our partnerships with both of our senators, and just the strategic guidance that particularly the OSSOF team has provided us with, the navigation program that Ronnie West launched from a regional perspective, and then our very own, you didn't get a chance to hear him today, Eugene White out of South Carolina, who is doing great things, as well as the initiative that they started in Aiken, South Carolina, and of course, the economic roundtables that have taken place throughout the various counties, our partnership with the National Association of Black Hotel Owners and Operators to bring rural tourism and impact, the cultural tourism tour, what we're doing in all Alabama, Mississippi, the launch of the River Valley Black Chamber of Commerce, as well as the local media that was done, the Divine Nine leading with Omega Psi Phi. I want to thank them for what they're doing and their initiatives, the proclamation that kicked off all proclamations that Sharice Stevens did out of Macon. We followed that same blueprint. The town halls have been going on with our various chambers leaders in Augusta, Columbus, and so on and so forth. The summit that was done in Augusta, Georgia was great. And the kickoff of the Southwestern Black Chamber of Commerce in Georgia. And then of course, our participation in the White House tours that have happened over the last couple of weeks. It's just been a great thing that is happening. And of course, we're going to hear from our very own who talks about next steps action, Miss Jules Nicole. Jules, I can't say you always get your last name mixed up, so I don't want to kill it. So I'll let you take it from there. But she's going to deliver our action steps that has come as a summary of all of the workshops and initiatives that we have been doing. So thank you, Senator James, for all that you do. I look forward to putting together this wrap-up report with you. We have other meetings that will be taking place. So we got a lot of work that needs to be done. Again, thank you for the opportunity.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Okay, Jewel. Is she coming? Okay, he has one more person, right?
That's me.
Oh, you're doing the, okay. You do. And she's sitting right here with us.
No joke.
And we
no
also
joke. I got it.
I did have on my mask.
And we do have our mask on. Before you close, is the HBCU president of Morris Brown College on with us? Dr. James, are you on the line? Are you on the line? Can you unmute? For some reason, we've lost the signal to tell us who's on the line. Can you speak up, Dr. James? Well, let me just quickly say that many of the HBCUs are already working to get to apply for different programs under the monies from the ARPA Act. So we want to make sure that Morris Brown College that has just received their accreditation once again, and they never close their doors, and they're doing online and many other new innovative ways of teaching. So we want to just make sure that their application is and proposal is written properly. So I might send them to you, Mr. Hill. I might refer them to you if it's okay.
Absolutely. My grandmother graduated and my father-in-law graduated from Morris Brown. So I'd be honored to do it. And just a little bit of history. The first meeting that the Black Chamber of Commerce did in Atlanta was on the campus of Morris Brown with Dr. Jolly's leadership.
Yes, and that's my alma mater as well. I went there as a little 17-year-old many, many years ago. And also, let me, when you're gonna close us up, but the Nicholas House may be on with us. Is the Nicholas House on with us? That's a home for the homeless, and usually it's families, but they take all different homeless people. Are you still on with us? But I hope that they were on earlier, I know, and I hope they got their application in. What about Chris Brand with FODAC? FODAC is an organization that if you saw me come in here on a scooter, they give us wheelchairs and scooters here at the Capitol. They give the schools all in different counties, different supplies and different things. They give the senior citizens different things, even the pens, anything that they need. All you have to do is be a member, and it's like $25 a year. And it's out in Stone Mountain. But during the pandemic, they have gone under, and also their needs got higher. So we want to make sure that the application that they put in is looked at and hopefully accepted. So Miss Alice Bussey was going to be on with us, but we called on her earlier and we didn't see her on the line. Are you on with us now, Miss Bussey? She is with the Concerned Black Clergy, and she's the chairperson of economic development and small business organizations. And they don't meet as much as you did, Michael. Well, not 300 times, but they meet once a week. They have a meeting after the Concerned Black Clergy meeting. And they are doing things in the metro area of Fulton, DeKalb, Atlanta, Douglas, Clayton, and Henry, all of the metropolitan, 13 counties, I believe, because that's who goes to those particular meetings. So we have come to the end of our meeting and we are well over. And again, we will look at the first week of October to try to have our last meeting, our wrap up. And at this time, I'd like to call Ms. Juliana Njoku. Njoku.
Yes.
I should know that. That's an African name?
Or both. Nigerian, yep.
Yes, I did my DNA. I'm Nigerian 70%.
That's right.
And I'm Igbo.
And I'm Igbo too.
Oh my. This is my sister up here. She's been sitting with us patiently this entire time. At this time, we're gonna close the gap in this American dream.
Yes.
And let me just say she's with the Workforce Strong Incorporated. She's the chair of Workforce Development Committee, Economic Roundtable. She's the chair of the Economic Justice Committee, the Georgia National Organization for Women, and the list goes on. You see, we have some Nigerian and Igbo in us. We don't know how to stop. So we just work, and get the job done. So thank you for being here and staying with us. Close us out with this meeting.
Thank you so much, Senator James. Much appreciated for your full-time support. It's hard to, it's oftentimes challenging to find state officials that are passionate to come up from their bedside, rain or shine, sick or recovering. You've never really failed us to be able to give us a voice for us to have this very important conversation at this very important time. Like you stated earlier, my name is Juliana Njoku. I'm the founder of Workforce Strong. I also chair the Workforce Development Committee for the Economic Roundtable. I'm here representing my esteemed colleagues who spoke earlier about the challenges that we're having throughout the state of Georgia, and the fact of the matter that we have a unique opportunity with the American Rescue Plan Act. In addition to the Rescue Plan, President Biden has done an excellent job to also add the American Jobs Plan, the American Family Plan, and the American Infrastructure Plan, interjecting trillions of dollars into our local economies, our national and local economies, with the effort to be able to close the gap. There's been a huge gap in the American dream for many underrepresented individuals. Black families, Latino families, women, head households have suffered for several decades under the systems that have not allowed them to really reach their economic potential. There's a real opportunity now with the injections of funds, specifically with the American Rescue Plan, because the Rescue Plan funding is flexible. The flexibilities have changed the way that we can apply those funds in a more creative way. The flexibilities have also allowed legislators and other individuals not to apply the funding because they can be hoped in different ways. We're calling today for them to use the flexibilities to advance the communities, specifically communities of color. The Executive Order 13895 specifies the very first act that President Biden did was to call to order the fact that the inequity in our country is going to lead to our economic downfall. ARP interjects $1.9 trillion of assistance into states, local, and tribal economy, the largest allocation of state funds in recent history. However, recent economic reports show that closing the racial gap, Hold on one second. I want to be factual when I read this. That closing the racial gap in wages, housing, lending practices, access to higher education would amount to an additional $5 trillion in the gross domestic product in the American economy in the next 5 years, doubling, almost tripling this interjection of 1.9 if we are able to focus on the gaps. We have achievement gaps, skills gaps that needs to be made up in this country significantly for us to even be a competing economy. So what do we need to do? And when do we need to do it? Through the Economic Roundtable and the meetings that we've had across the southern states, one thing that is clear across all of our meetings is a desire for access. Access to information to lead to the access of funding so that we can access the on-the-ground organizations so that we can actually access the wealth that's necessary to be able to grow back the economies that have struggled across the way. However, that information has not made it to all the necessary tiers of government and all the necessary individuals of influence. That information has not made it to the individuals who need the money to restart their small businesses, to put additional funding into their non-for-profits, to help stabilize families. Yet every single aspect of the rescue plan, the jobs plan, and the infrastructure plan has been asking for stabilization. The consequences of us not having access to the resources that have already been duly allocated, half came in May and more to come this October, is going to cripple or further cripple communities that already came into this economy, into the pandemic economy, short. The roundtable is asking, and really appreciates the support of Senator James, for all additional state and policyholders to assist us with getting access. The information has to make it to the right hands to make it to the right people. The funding needs to make it to the right hands to be able to address the immediate needs and the long-term sustainable need of underserved communities. Without us having the necessary access to this information, and if the funding as of now, according to the Brookings Institute, there's almost 82% of the funding is unallocated, 82%. In certain areas, CARES Act money hasn't been fully allocated, let alone rescue plan money hasn't been fully allocated. Yet people are dying in a first world country, in world-class cities, over simple services that could easily be addressed if we only had access to the right amount of funding and if we're only actually dealing with organizations that are actually on the ground getting the work done. Access. We're asking for full-time support. Support in our bid to be able to get the funding from our state legislators and from our national legislators to be able to speak to the programs and to speak to the needs of underserved communities here in Georgia. Many of the organizations are already a part of the roundtable, and we invite them to continue to look out for economic roundtables where they can get the full-time support. Thanks to Michael Hill and Ronnie West, Mark Heaton, and many of the other folks that have come together in the leadership of the Economic Roundtable. They've put together a marketplace where not only can you find out information, but you can find out information to lead to support. It's about time. It's about time. So when do we need to do this? Yesterday. The pandemic continues to rise as more people continue to debate whether they want to be vaccinated. In the midst of that, more people continue to die. And in the midst of that, more people continue to get sick. In the midst of that, less jobs are opening up. In the midst of that, economies are crashing. Yesterday. So we're asking, if you know that this needs to be done yesterday, we're asking you to wake up tomorrow and get involved. We're asking all elected officials to be able to get involved and find out about Executive Order 13895 and read it in great detail. It specifies as the first act of the current president of the United States that we have to close this equity gap. The survivability of not just Brown and Black communities is at stake. The survivability of our national economy is at stake. as I just read to you from the Brookings Institute, that for $1.9 trillion investment in closing the racial gap, you get a $5 trillion return. The time is now. Thirdly, and most importantly, we're asking for organizations not to give up. We know that you're frustrated. We know that you've not received the necessary funding to be able to revitalize yourself in the midst of this scary time, but we're asking you not to give up. We're further asking you to think of yourself as a part of a greater coalition and get involved. If you're in healthcare, find other healthcare organizations and get involved in a collaborative so you can make your money's work until we're able to get to you. If you're in education and training, get together so you can help individuals get the necessary skills to qualify for jobs that make beyond a living wage. Here in Georgia, there are many, many outstanding organizations and corporations that are offering jobs, but the truth of the matter is that those jobs require you to have a skill. They require you to have the necessary skills. Without those skills, you will not be able to qualify for the necessary job to make beyond the $21 self-sufficiency rate or the $25 real self-sufficiency rate if you have children. For women-led households, we're calling on you to also hold on. Hold on. Women return back to the workforce has been slow because they bear the economy of care. Women are dealing with children, aging parents. They're dealing with the arrival of family members on a regular basis, and their dollars are not just spent before they earn it, their dollars are spent and stretched before they earn it. We're asking you to hold on, to continue to lobby your state representatives with the facts of the matter that women representing over 40% of the frontline workers that went out during this pandemic, they went out to save lives and continue to do so. Representing our education population at higher rates, they're out there treating our children right now. And they deserve an opportunity to be able to build back themselves and bounce back in a more equitable way. They deserve clear childcare, clear pathways for training, clear support, work-life balance, because they're one of the largest contributors to local and national economies. And lastly, small businesses. Please don't give up on your dreams. We have to close the American dream, specifically for the largest employer in the United States, which is the small businesses. Small businesses have been keeping local and national economies going for decades. But we recognize that small lending funding and the opportunities or the opportunities for you to be able to re-outfit yourself in the new technical economy has crippled you. We're just asking you for some time and for you to join with us, join with an economic roundtable, support senators like Senator James, support other senators, our national senators that are actively working every single day to get you the necessary funding so that you can build back your businesses better. President Biden said, let's build back better. Well, let's build Black communities back better. Let's build back our small businesses better. Let's build back our broken families better. Let's build our broken systems better. We're here today and continue to meet at these hearings, fighting and advocating for what we know to be true. That everyone in this country deserves a chance to live out their lives equitably. That everybody contributing taxes into this country and working in this country has and deserves and has a right to the stakes of the $1.9 trillion that is out there, every single person. But more importantly, underserved communities need to recognize and feel that energy that you deserve this. So to close out today, I want you to remember that we're asking for access to information, to the fundings that have already been allocated, the fundings that are coming down the pike. We want to be able to access the necessary training, the necessary information and certification programs for our businesses to get back together. We want to come together and in support to support those that are supporting us so that we can get our local economies bouncing back so that we can have a national economy buoyancy. And we're asking for everybody else to get involved. This is not the time for you to sit back and hope. This is not a time to wait on a check. This is time for you to demand what you deserve. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Oh my, before I adjourn.
Well done, Jules.
Say it again, please.
I said, well done, Jules.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she will, and Senator James, she will be delivering our final report. So Jules is actually taking lead on summarizing all of our information to present at the final committee. And I told her, I said, you know, you're our national spokesperson, particularly after that interview she did a couple of weeks ago.
You did an excellent job, and
yes,
all of you have been doing a great job, and I appreciate working with all of you, and I hope that we can make a positive difference here, and we can take a look at that at one of our other meetings. We can, maybe not hearings, but one of the meetings that we have, and sit down, see where we are at this point and where we need to be, Michael. Because everybody has thanked all of you, and I want to thank all of you. Is the kids gym USA people here, Stephanie and Tracy Campbell, are you on the line?
Yes, Senator, I am on the line.
Oh my, I didn't mean to miss you. It was so, it's at least 10 other people that didn't get on the line either. But we have your package. I don't know if you can see, and it's in all of our, it's on the website and it's in all the committee members' packages, Kids Gym USA. So tell us briefly about how gymnastics develops the young children, helping them to do what it says, become leaps and bounds ahead of their peers. And I know that it works because I used to go to all of the Hawks games and the Falcon games, and I saw your Kids Gym USA kids tumbling and doing gymnastics for the halftime shows. So tell us about it briefly, because
okay.
We're 1 hour over.
I understand, and I appreciate you giving us the opportunity. Yes, we're Kids Gym USA. We've been serving the Metro Atlanta community for 35 years now.
Yeah.
We use gymnastics as a tool to help kids develop the school readiness skills. Those kids you saw at halftime, those are the gifted kids that we use to help promote and bring some attention to what can be done. But our interest, our niche is the early learner, the pre-K child. And our program will help these kids develop the school readiness skills, brain connections, executive functioning, motor skills, social and emotional skills that they need to be successful academically. There's a professor, James Heckman, out of the University of Chicago. He's a Nobel laureate who has done research and is now encouraging everybody to invest in early childhood education because of the long-term benefits it will have in our society, as well as cutting down the cost for social programs, the criminal justice costs, and will help increase our economy because of people being more productive citizens. And it has to start early in the pre-K program. That's why our program, we are really trying to emphasize support for that, because it gets kids early involved in what we do. We use gymnastics as something that's fun, but in order to participate, they have to submit to authority. They have to follow instructions. They have to exercise self-control. Brain connections are done because of the stimulation they get from all the activities. So, and just trying to be brief, getting kids early, helping them to feel good about themselves, helping them develop those school readiness skills will help them be better students, continue to participate in school, graduate, get a job, keep a job, and be a productive part of society. And that's where it starts, early. And that's what we do, and that's what we would like to do and like to continue to do because of our partnership with the Atlanta Public Schools, Fulton County Schools, Head Start centers, and pre-K programs around the Metro Atlanta area.
Well,
how was that?
I certainly hope that the kids, Gym USA, can fill out that application and proposal so that you can get approved to continue to help kids, because they lost education, but they also lost the kind of program that you offer, and they have not been able to do that now for a year and a half. And since you're not part of the school system, sometimes we get on the bottom of the totem pole when it's time to give money. So we hope that your proposal is accepted and that you can continue to help our young kids, as well as making sure you entertain us at the halftime show.
Well, we left nothing more than doing that. And we did submit our proposal. Hopefully it was met all the requirements for being accepted. And, we just, again, this is a ministry for us. Again, we've been doing this here in Atlanta for 35 years, been doing it totally for 40 years. And our mission is to serve those kids that are underserved, kids in economically disadvantaged communities, kids in schools that are on the free lunch program, Title I schools. Those are the ones that are at most risk of being instead of becoming a taxpayer, they'll become tax burdens. And that's our main mission, is to help kids go from being potential tax burdens to taxpayers.
Well, you're talking my language now, because that was my whole objective for running for office years ago, is to make sure that we educate our kids, we help our kids become productive citizens in the future. And you're one of the reasons why I sit here, because I know that all of you are doing a good job. So again, I must get ready to adjourn before they throw us out of the Capitol. So thank you so much, Tracy and Stephanie Campbell, for all that you do with the Kids Gym USA. Again, I asked if Miss Terry was on from, she's the Director of Development at Nicholas House. I asked for Fodak's CEO, and that was Mr. Chris Brand or somebody representing him. I know they were on earlier, but we didn't get to so many people. And let me thank all of you again. The plaque is just so beautiful. And whenever you come to your capital, as long as I'm here, you can come in my office in room 121 and you'll see that I proudly display it when I receive it. So thank you so much, Michael, and all of the great leaders from all over Georgia who gave me this plaque today. Thank you. And we're about to adjourn. Is Senator Harbison, Senator Emmanuel Jones, or Senator Freddie Powell Sims on the line with us now? Are y'all still on the line? They are the members of this committee. And of course, we postponed the last meeting because the surge of the Delta variant had just come out in such a manner that it was closing schools again and infecting so many of our children and adults. And so we wanted to be safe and secure when you come into this meeting, so that we can get the work done and then be able to benefit from it and not have anyone become ill as a result of coming into a meeting. So if I'm vaccinated, I hope you are too. And if not, think about it, because it not only helps you, but your family and the people around you. And don't forget to wear your mask if you can, because that way too you are having precautions that also help to keep you healthy and safe. Since my committee members do not wish to speak, do you want to speak? You want to say anything? Our research analyst is here. Okay, thank you. Did any of the other staff need to say anything, or Mr. Anderson? Yes. Which one? What number is next to it? Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Which one? You can go to the podium. We're closing out and we're adjourning with Mr. Calvin Anderson, who has worked very hard all year since March.
It's been an extraordinary undertaking, and as so many people have said, this is a once in a lifetime allocation based on the COVID pandemic. And there are 20 agencies involved with title funding over 84 targeted areas. And it's more than a Herculean task to cover it all. Senator James has been tireless with outreach, and it's going to be very important that we have all of your needs assessments, all of your feasibility studies, all of your demographic information in terms of new leaders that are emerging that can write in, call in, and document exactly what is needed. Because in order to fulfill even the equity executive order, we have to share our needs assessment. We have to show what gaps there are, because there was no script for the American Rescue Plan Act. Senator James needs to write in, to share wrap-up information, to share what you've learned on your tour, so that we have enough to share with all of the statewide apparatus, from the governor's office out, around, down, and up. Once we're all communicating coherently and friendly and like a cohesive epicenter for progress, then we can actually fulfill some of the needs. This has been an extraordinary time. Senator James is a remarkable woman and a remarkable leader and a remarkable public servant. And it's been a joy to be near her. It's been a wonder to also watch Sharon J. Hill and Michael Hill and so many others that I've come to respect being around them. And I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. So I will officially adjourn the Interstate Corporation Committee meeting on HR 1319 from U.S. Representative John Yarmouth of Kentucky, 3rd District, his American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, and the executive order that went along with it from our President Biden, 13985. That's 13985 if you want to Google it. Thank you, and we officially adjourn.